What is up, guys? Welcome to the transparency. I'm going to be truthful through transparency. I don't understand. What's everybody's problem with the alibi? I hope you guys like the thumbnail there. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? I don't understand. I think it's a lot of hypocrisy, to be honest, because this data from phones was used in the PCA to literally arrest Brian Koberger. Now we have the same data that's being interpreted and used by somebody else. And now this person can put Brian Koberger in a different place during the time of the crime or crimes. I don't understand the beef. So we're going to talk about it. And while we're talking about it, I want to remind you guys of this video.
Thank you. Good semester. And in some cases, like when we get here and that stereo's going, I would also go contact them because it was non-specific.
Sure.
And if I'm warning them, I better go fucking warn them too.
True. And that's the bottom road house there?
Which one? Over here? That one? That one's up on, goes through that driveway. The guy's walking right there.
Oh, yeah.
That side there. Guarantee the stairs are going to come right back on as soon as we leave.
Well, I saw that big, tall JBL on the back patio there, so I'll just go chat with them.
Okay, I'll come with you. You want to walk up or do you want to?
Yeah, we'll walk up. Let's start.
You guys remember, like, Rosie is talking about that stereo, and the stereo, though, he happened to see from the porch, like from wherever he was standing when they went over to talk to the guys. This dude was able to see this, what he referred to as a huge ass speaker. But now when we get over to the house here, the speaker is actually inside, number one. So they bring it inside. And number two, this is when they totally cased the joint. Remember this? This is one of the videos that we went and grabbed through the transparency, August 16th. This is just days before Brian Koberger would be pulled over in the alleged area. Okay. So let's watch again how the police case the joint, case the house that, no joke, would be like the crime scene. Okay.
Just, it wouldn't be fair, you know, if you're warning these guys, you better warn them.
Yeah, good point.
Moscow 11. I'm still on the department channel.
Right there.
Moscow 111.
I'm still on the department channel. Then he had to like hit into the radio, and everybody wants to talk about that there was that 911 call that sent out the Banfield people at 301. You guys, that's not what happened with the Banfield. So there was no calling at 301 for the police. Okay. It was using the radio and then the first sign of these undercover cops talking with radio. But take a look here. All right.
We're clear of 1127 King Road. We're going to be out at 1122 Queen Road. Same problem.
Look at what's in the driveway to the right. Looks like an Elantra. But it's a Chevy. All right. There's the RAV that gets turned into a Range Rover. The red Jeep. Of course, Ethan's.
Hey guys, can you send someone out who lives here, please?
Right there, look at the guy in the window. There's always a guy in the window with a backpack.
Last night, because I'm looking for one with Xander Dash.
Nope. Sorry, you can always call us later and ask in case it gets turned in here. It's our business line.
Sweet, thank you.
You bet.
Look at that table. Again, remember, Brian Culver would be pulled over 6 days later, by the way. Rosie knows right where to go, and he is, training more or less on this trip. He's training. Okay. Again, there is no ladder on the right-hand side. There's also no dangling lights because they didn't get those lights yet until September. And that's when all the Venmo start saying, paid for like the stools and the lights.
No one.
Look at that grass. Okay. Look at that grass. When did the landlord come on over and cut that grass?
It's coming to the door.
Then they just flat out lie. Then these cops flat out lie and say nobody's coming to the door. You guys, nobody knocked on the door. Y'all understand that, right? Nobody knocked on the front door, and they're saying nobody's coming to the door.
We knocked on the front door. No,
We were knocking on the front door. Nobody. I mean, they're just flat out lying. All right. But here they come.
Yeah, I took one look at that speaker. I said,
Yeah. How do you see this speaker? You guys, that speaker had to be, but just like, what type of eyes do you even have? You're way over there. I'm telling you, when we were in Moscow, like we were wild. Look at where that house is. You could tell there was a speaker. Now, again, I don't know. Maybe the speaker was right next to the that charcoal piece of shit grill, but he knows all about the speaker. That looks like a flip cup table. That looks like a beer pong table out there. You guys, it's the middle of the day. Okay, look at where the sun's at, and we got people calling in noise complaints. And then here we go. Here's this dude in circles, just.
You get a lot of guys trying to argue private property access.
the way I've always done it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was the way I did it there. Find one responsible, have everyone else hold them accountable. If I got to come back here, they're getting the ticket.
He signals right there to him. Check that out right there. That's what they do. When they know if they're wearing body cams, they use hand signals, okay?
You get a lot of guys trying to argue private property access.
The way I've always done it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was the way I did it there. Find one responsible, have everyone else hold them accountable. If I got to come back here, they're getting the ticket.
Watch right here. Like, what the fuck?
Because
You
then
guys,
it's on them to nip
what the
everyone else in the bud.
Yeah, and if they don't come out, we just contact landlords.
Yeah.
wait. And if they don't come, we just contact the landlords? When has a police officer ever done that? Okay. Now the reason, just so you guys know, I was intensifying the volume when I made this video. So I have like the unedited video. There was nothing cut. If they have to redact something, they use a black like redaction blurb, or they'll like fuzz it all out. The reason you're going to see a little bit it's off when they're talking, that's only because I was enhancing and doing stuff with the audio to enhance some stuff, just so you guys know that.
Or we come back the next day or the next time you work.
Yeah.
And just note that, like
You come back the next day you work, you come back the next time, the next day. You just know, like, listen to him, talk to him about this protocol that they do. Because he's like, well, what if nobody comes to the door? Okay, so is there possibly more video out there of when the cops like went there but nobody answered, so they didn't like turn on their body cams? I'm just saying, I don't know.
cooperation does not go a long ways with us.
Yeah.
that screen over there was out for days, for months, way before the murder. Take a look over there. All right. So like, see how it's on that delay? I did that. Thank you there. Love you, Samantha Brains. Appreciate that. We got some new members. We got some people re-upping their memberships.
Huh. No stairs to the back deck. Interesting.
Thank you for everything you do. You're the best. I mean, right there. Again. Oops.
Yeah.
Talking about the house. No stairs to the back deck. You know. I mean, this guy is legit Casey.
No stairs to the back deck. Interesting.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know over here.
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
You go to school?
Yeah.
Okay. What year?
Senior.
Senior. Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
He's over here thinking, "Hey, you know this drill," and she's over here like, "No, I don't." And so she's gonna get this this whole talk. Why is Hunter Johnson even out there? Just interesting.
Once I have neighbors calling in, you're just too loud. You're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties. Nothing against having people over who are overage to drink. But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
We always take it as up to 300.
Yeah, somewhere around 300, 400
It's a
bucks.
pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to give that to you. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible.
They get it more
It is your
expensive
place,
the later
you're
it
also
gets.
responsible for everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab
We already warned them
Yeah.
too, so.
And if I do have to come back here, $300 some ticket's going to be away.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. So fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
Actually, what's your phone number for you?
208-640.
Is this 1122 here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd much rather you spend that $300 on beer or something fun than.
And then right here, this is going to be the infamous phone. Take it out. Take a screenshot.
Yeah.
Noise
Yeah.
sticker, right?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That being said, warnings. Don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back in a few hours and then have to issue that. So,
Yeah.
any questions for me?
No.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
The thing that's interesting is that when the cops were over there, the music wasn't playing. So, again, I went ahead and I pulled out the Idaho State Police protocols and the Moscow Police Department handbook. I went ahead and pulled the handbook. And just so we know, and just so we're clear on this, that man taking a phone or taking a picture with his phone, that picture is the property of all of ours. That has to be turned over. So now I would like to invite, I know that people out there, whether or not they're scared to come over here and voice their opinion, but I don't understand what the beef is with this alibi. It is the same that's in the PCA. It's just the opposite way. So there is right there the link. If you have whatever this beef is with this alibi, has to do with the data, the same thing that's in the PCA, the same thing that got him arrested. Okay. So I don't understand the hypocrisy. And so please check out my, the thumbnail here. Like, where's the beef? That's your Wendy's lady back in the day. Where's the beef? But it's not protocol to take pics of the ID. Well, actually, that's not technically true. Okay. If you're using your phone for anything like this, you have to then, when you're done with your shift, you upload this to the report. Okay. You're uploading like this, like your phone then becomes like that's evidence. So when you're taking like your picture of that, that needs to be uploaded, that picture that you took, to be saying that you did that. Because 100% are you allowed, it's in the handbook, it's 100% allowed. What it is though is when you're concealing that you did it, and also that's supposed to be destroyed afterwards. So there's things that if you just go and read their policy of post, okay, and it doesn't matter in Idaho if it's his personal phone or his work phone. Once you go ahead and you use it for work reasons, it's 100%. Like right here, we would have grounds to send this in and say, we would like the picture that this Moscow officer took of this ID. Okay. And they would then look at this, and then they would have to take it up with him, and they would have to go hunting for this. And then you'd want to see like what he did with it, right? Then maybe his phone is even in question to say, okay, we're going to dump your phone to see who you sent that to. Who did this officer possibly send that picture to? All I know is when I went ahead and asked for, we can't find on any of the body cams that we have, this is the only officer that we have taking a picture of someone's ID. But that does not mean that you cannot do this. You can do this for purposes of writing up a report. Okay. You would take down all the information, enter it into, to write up your report, and then you'd be uploading anytime it is. Now, this is what is 100% in the training books with the Idaho State Police. If I take a picture with something of my phone, that becomes the property of the police. Okay. Your phone is then subject to X, Y, and Z. And when you're done with your shift, when you're leaving before your shift, you're supposed to be uploading that shit. With your body cams, doing all of this stuff with your report, you're supposed to be uploading that. That becomes then the property of the Moscow Police Department, the property of you and me. Okay. So, but any of the body cams that we have, this is the only time I think that we can, I can go through them all again to see if it happens anywhere else. The only other time that I think that it could have potentially happened was the night of the murders, when the guy and the girl are walking and the girl gets the ticket and the guy doesn't. But if you listen to this whole conversation before he even gets to this house, Rosie is not familiar with shit around this area. Okay. But he knew right where to go because he was clearly watching and looking from the other house, and he went straight to the backyard. I think this guy that's training him is just like, what are you doing? Like, Rosie just seems like he does whatever the fuck he wants, versus like if somebody's training, somebody's like walking you around, someone's, but did Rosie ever attach the pic to his report for this incident? We didn't know that there was a pic. So technically, no, there was not one when I got it. Now, if I could file another FOIA request and say, hey, after further reviewing of this body cam, your officer took a picture with his personal cell phone. Okay. We would like that picture, and you can redact whatever you want out of it. But I guarantee you they're going to say that that item is not found, because I doubt that he did that. But this is something that I would be using if I was on the defense. I would be using all of this because I think this is grounds to see who and what he did with this ID. And so everybody wants to talk about Brian Kober and these alleged IDs that were in his glove compartment, which let me break this all down for you one more time for the backseat people. I promise you that none of those alleged IDs from Brian Kober's glove compartment or in some box or whatever have anything to do with any of these victims or the surviving roommates. Take that motherfucking shit to the bank. Because that would be a connection. And there is no connection between Ann Taylor's client and these victims or their surviving roommates. Nor is there any connection of any associates of any of these people. Now, what's the beef? Oh, Lux, hit back in there, buddy. Sorry, I think you popped off. I was just about to hit you. So if you're still, watching. No in a box, closet, in a parent's room. Yeah, none of that. Okay. Just tuning in. Love the reference to the 1980s Wendy's. Where's the beef commercial? Absolutely. I love the 80s. Love the 90s. I'm an 80s and 90s girl. But whoever out there has a beef with this alibi, the alibi is not what he was doing. Okay. The alibi is where he was. That's the alibi. And that can be corroborated by an expert, not a 2-year-old just hitting the force pain. But this is by an expert that's going to say, you're wrong. But the data is actually like this. Because if you think about it, right? They did not have Brian Kohlberger's phone when they plugged it in to like download it for the Cellbrite. Payne and the rest of these people that want to say that they helped him do this, okay? They didn't have Kohlberger's phone. You guys understand that, right? All they had was historical data from, like, that's the chintzy end of everything that you can go ahead and get from someone's phone. But once you actually physically got his phone, which they did after the arrest of Brian Kohlberger, then they're plugging it in and then they're downloading, they're extracting all of the data, okay? And that's data that the expert is using, which is way more, that's where you're not playing triangulation games. That's where if anything on Brian Kohlberger's phone was an app that had GPS, stuff like that, that's the data that the expert's using, which is going to be, having a way higher percentage of being more accurate due to the data that he's using versus what they went ahead and did. Because they didn't have that phone anything that was in here. They didn't have that when they would have made the PCA. That's a big thing that people are just, for whatever reason, not mentioning. Mr. Lux.
Good evening, Lena.
How are you?
Thanks for taking my call. No, I'm doing all right. I usually catch your show in the morning or on my lunch breaks. Finally, I catch it when I'm off work, and we don't have to rush. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that's been happening. But first, let me just say this before I even get into the details. I've never seen a case before, I mean, as long as I've been alive, that we actually don't want to find. We don't want to explore any idea outside of the main suspect, BK. I mean, before BK, and I was just watching somebody's live yesterday. I don't know if it was a live or if it was a show. I think it was on I forgot that law show, but they were saying that there was a suspect before BK. No, it was actually harsh reality. That was the show.
Okay.
He was talking about there was a suspect before BK, and he was out in the papers. He don't know why they put him out there because no one elaborated on it. No one wanted to speak about it. It's like they put his name out there. They arrested such and such for the not for the murder, but in connection to the murder. They made an arrest. No, they made it. He's a suspect, and no one went into details. This is like a big conspiracy type of thing because it's out in the papers, and no one's talking about it. No one wants to explore that guy, and that guy had connection to drugs. His name was, I forgot his name, whatever he said his name was. But it brought to mind why we have never explored, not even explore. We don't want to explore another suspect outside of BK. When we found two other DNA outside the crime scene, but we don't even want to mention anybody outside of BK. Not even as an accomplice. We don't even want to talk about an accomplice.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I'm over here like, this is hypocrisy. You arrest Brian Kohlberger because of data, because of phone data. Okay. But then here you have somebody that actually takes the data from Brian Kohlberger's phone and does the work from a totally different angle, because that's obviously the stuff that you guys didn't use because you didn't have Brian Kohlberger's phone. And this expert's saying, wait a second, no. This dude was not over that. He was not over there. He's over here. And, and I'm going to show you how and why. And you have all these people flipping out because all they want to talk about is the stargazing bullshit. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if Brian Kohlberger was getting blown by goats. okay, in the park. If that's not what it's about. It's not about what he was doing or not doing. It's about where he was and who's going to put him there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and it's the same. And to me, this is the definition of hypocrisy, because you got the phone data is how you arrested him, and they're saying he's over here committing this crime, right? But you got the phone data saying he's over here at the same time. Oh my God, he's stargazing. It's like, wait a second. How are you totally missing the point of, I mean, so I just keep saying to people, what's the beef here? What's truly the beef? Your beef is that he was stargazing, or is your beef that, is it something else? Is it like, what the fuck?
Well,
And
Lena,
I think I passed my smoke detector on to you.
and Lena, I was just about to get into that. That was my next point. Like, you be reading my mind. But
That's great.
you know what's funny? It's like they said that, oh no, he turned his phone off, which is that would be a suspicion that, yeah, this guy, he did commit the crime. No, I don't think he ever shut his phone off, because first of all, even if you shut your phone off, you're still connecting to the towers. And I don't think he was no longer connecting to the towers, because he never went that way. He could connect to the towers from home. I think when he was at home, he connected to the towers, and then he drove. How he drove to south of Washington? Is that where he drove to? Right. That's what the express said. He drove south, so he no longer connected to the towers. And they try to say in the PCA, because first of all, I don't think they're that stupid, but they think they try to hit us with a lot of false information to paint this idea in our head that this guy was stalking the victims when he could have been sitting at home pinning 12 times, because he's at home. They use the same towers.
I'd be sleeping. I would be sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, it's 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Like, when people are like, oh my God, your alibi sucks. I'm just thinking like, dude, what the fuck are you smoking right now? Who has an alibi at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning?
He could have went on a blunt ride. You know, when I was in college, I go on a blunt ride all the time. I would do that, honestly.
Oh no, yeah, a lot of my friends they would go driving around and get high.
Look, I went to school in New Hampshire, and we could drive to the mountain, like University of New Hampshire. We would drive that far, like an hour ride, and just smoke L's. And it's like he could have been smoking weed and driving. He could have been driving to the mountains. And when you smoke weed, everything is lovely and beautiful, and watching the moon and the stars. He could have literally been watching the moon and the stars. And they want to paint this idea. And I think that's the big thing about this case. That's the prosecution case. It's not based on facts. If you look at the facts, the entire case, when you want to say, okay, this guy is weird, but you know what's really weird? This guy, he chose a bunch of people that he didn't know. He had no connection. You can't prove that he had any connection with, and he went into a house.
Well, actually, now we're able to prove that like he didn't, because they took all of like his. If you actually go back and read that PCA and you read that one page, it really sticks out again when you look at how much that they tried to aid in the effort. They say the words, we tried to aid in the effort to be able to prove that Brian Kohlberger, okay, there's no connection to them, but let's take a look and see if he's connected to any of these victims or the roommates that were the still survivors, any of their associates, meaning let's look at their phones and let's see if Brian Kohlberger is calling the same people that any of these victims, were calling and stuff like that. And so when they went ahead and they did that, there is still not a connection. And so like, you're going like Kevin Bacon, like 7, what do they say? 6 degrees separation, 7 degree. I don't know. But you're starting to branch out even. And so it's not even that this man has no connection to any of them, but now they have no connection. Now he has no connection to any of their known associates, people that they talk to, people that they text. You get what I'm saying? Like, and when they put that in the PCA and what it made it seem like, and this is the only thing that they could come back on. Yeah, 7 degrees of separation. Thank you for that.
Elena, I'm going to end this. I'm going to end with this. Bill Thompson, he was in court rashing the witness, the defense witness, because
that was embarrassing.
He told the potential jurors that, oh, this guy might be stalking. Do you believe this guy was stalking the victims? No, you spent a whole year, an entire year, painting this guy as a stalker, and that he surveyed the home 12 times when he could have been sitting at home and just pinning, just like it showed in the PCA. I mean, just like it shows with the expert now in the new graph, that this guy was at home and he pinned from home, and then he went south, and then he no longer connected to the towers. And oh my God, it's a mess. I think Bill Thompson is broken at this point, because the judge, with the ruling the judge said was that this guy, you already brought you the one that made this, that put this out by stating this in court. It could have been with the gag order. We could have ruled with the gag order for this stuff not to be released. But the fact that you already said this in court, you already shared this with the entire media, the entire community. I think Bill Thompson is no longer making sense.
Yeah.
He's broken. He's broken.
Yeah,
And I think
he's turning red really quick.
This expert is exposing this case, and this case is falling apart. I leave you with this, Lena. You have a wonderful night. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Love you, man. Again, love when he pops on here. And no, it's not my smoke detector, Mr. Lux, looking like he has the same problem back in the day. You guys, the issue here is that where's the beef? Why are people so outraged over the fact this is when, if you're a nerd for like this type of shit, and you guys follow true crime and you say that you're a true crime enthusiast, wait, you're telling me that there is somebody out there that is an expert and is so qualified that came forward, looked at all this data, and is like, wait a second, show stop. That this is not accurate. And actually, this man was waiting for me to get this data, which you guys have held out in the discovery to get to me. Now that you got it to me, I'm going through it, and no wonder why you guys have held out. But yeah, you still held out because there's still stuff that's missing. Okay. And, but I have enough to point him and pin him over here during this time, which is the crime. So what I'm saying is, if you are a true crime enthusiast and you like follow this type of shit, this is a case where you're just like, wait a second, we're about to have a showdown here with the data, with phone data here, with the digital evidence. And that's it, period. This has nothing to do. Take Brian Kober out of the equation. Take even the victims out of the equation. Can anybody just not think about just that for a second? You got somebody that's saying he was over here, and you got somebody saying, no, he's over here. And they both think that they're going to go ahead and prove this. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sit right here, and I'm here for it because I want to see what the heck's going on. So here, Janet, come on up. Hi, Janet. How are you? And then Twiz Shiz will be next. How you doing, Janet? Are you there? Hi. Good. What do you think? What is the beef? What's the problem with people in this alibi?
Okay, well, the thing about it is everybody is hooked on, if you had an alibi, you should have spit it out the first day that you were standing before the judge for the whole world to hear. The fact that he refused to put in a plea, he wouldn't say where he was, and they've held out and held out and held out, and then they
Great points.
Over the data. Everybody knows that this is so fucked up, but they don't want to admit that maybe he's innocent because that's all they have. There was a big rush to judgment here, and this poor bastard is going to have to work 150% harder than the average person to prove his innocence, even if everything says he wasn't there. They're still going to put him there.
even though the world says in the, hey, you're innocent until proven guilty, it's like we gotta go out there and prove this man's innocent.
The criminal justice system, I used to tell people this when I was a cop. The criminal justice system is designed for you to be found guilty. If you're standing in front of that judge, by golly, you must have done it. Okay, you are it, whether you like it or not, and you are guilty. You are a guilty motherfucker standing there.
Love you, Janet.
100 times. And you know how many percent of the people walk out of a courtroom not guilty? 5%.
Ooh,
that's
interesting number there.
95% of all people will have a plea. They'll take a fucking plea just to get the hell out of the courtroom and pay the fine and be done with it. And it's all about the numbers in the criminal justice system. And the DA looks good. You know, he's an elected official, and it looks like he's working for the people and everybody. And that's what they want. Everybody wants justice. And when they don't get justice, then they get radical. It's like they turn into a mob.
Well,
Out. And I
that
see
word
that
justice,
occurring.
I just I'm going more with like the word, I want truth. When people say, someone said to me the other day, this isn't for you about getting justice for the victims. And I'm over here like, excuse me, but what is justice? I said, I'm over here about getting truth for the victims, because from truth, then you can find out what happened to these 4 people, right? I think that that's what they would want, is the truth to come out about what happened to them in the situation from start to finish. So when you want to talk about justice, what do people that are dead, what's the justice? They want truth. And that's the way that a family would heal, in my opinion. Again, this is all my opinion, because if I'm a parent and this would ever happen to me, I have no idea how I would be in the situation, but me standing outside talking about it, I could tell you that I'd want the truth, and that I would never want this to happen to somebody else. And that the truth could make that so that that does not happen to somebody else. But justice, there's no bringing back my child. So I don't know, when you say like justice, I'm like, I want truth. I want the truth. And then I want to hope to God I can heal, or somewhat heal, because I'll never be the same.
My son was murdered at 19, and he was killed in a nursing facility. They drowned him in his bed, and they covered up the crime. What they did not know was that I had a law enforcement background. So when I went in the room, I was in such a state of shock that I went in almost like it was a crime scene, because it's the only way I could not fall totally apart. And the first thing I did was roll his body over and check the postmortem lividity. And the first question I asked them was, what time did he die? And they went, oh, around 1 o'clock. And it's 3 o'clock. And I said, and where have you had his body all this time? Out in the fucking snow? His core temperature was too low. That child died approximately 9 o'clock at night. They lied about the crime. They covered it up. And so I hired a private investigator, and I called a meeting with all the people. And I got them all in a room, and I grilled them. And I got the doctor too. And I said, you're going to tell me how my son died. Take it moment by moment. And I said, because you people sell the bullshit to people about, they say, oh, your loved one died peaceably. My ass, 95 of us are going to die scratching the wallpaper off the fucking walls. And then you're going to have some morons come out in the hallway and tell you, oh, don't worry, they died peacefully.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Janet, how my son died. And he said it took him 20 minutes to drown in his own bed. The fear, the terror. And I wanted justice. You know what I got? I got a dead child and a funeral bill. And the people who killed him are still walking around. The only solace that I got out of it, the whole thing, was I had a Jewish rabbi who was my private investigator. And this is what he said to me. He said, do you think that God is laying across a cloud on a Monday going, hey, Moses, look at that. They killed another one of my angels again. Oh, well, we got a lot more where that comes from. We'll just send a few more down there. He says, the hell he is. He says, I guarantee from the moment that they took your son's life, their quality of life changed, as a meaning they won't have one. That's the only thing you're going to get. And sometimes you'll get the truth. And sometimes it's ugly truth that you don't want to hear, and you wish you never sat there to hear it. But it'll take you your entire life. I feel so sorry for these families. They will never be the same. There is nothing more that will take you to your knees than the loss of a child. And to have all this rigmarole going on and the fighting and the arguing between two attorneys, and we haven't even have a court date yet.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? And
It's
everybody
become a chess game. It's become a game to the attorneys.
exactly. So you lose the reason why you're there. It's totally lost. And those
Yep.
poor parents, the Gonzalez's, I remember they walked out of there and they said something, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. They said something like, it was a waste of time even being there. They're not even looking at us. It's all about their rules and their procedures and yada, 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 which is true. You know, it gets very complicated because people don't know the law. They don't study it, you know, they just hear about it. And half
Yeah.
of what they hear is a bunch of crap too. So, you know, but the truth of the matter is Kohlberger can be innocent as the day is long, and they better make sure that they got a guy who can put his steps in the Poconos.
Yeah.
As oh, it's what you've been to this town. Am I right when I say it's approximately 4 square miles?
Yeah, it's small.
Okay, so that means no matter where you are, you're still there in their house.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, that's what's interesting is that they want to talk about that you're peeing on a tower, and I'm like, look at it. You see all these houses are on top of each other.
exactly.
You could be pinging. I could be pinging on the same tower that their house gets service to, but I'm over shopping at Walmart or wherever, a place over there, or that's just so you're misguiding when you're saying that in the PCA, that you're making it seem like he was literally outside that house sitting there 12 different times. But really, if that was the case, you would have been able to grab some ring footage from one of these houses over during one of those 12 times to be able to line that up. But all you're able to say is that he was in the area of where he was in an area that this house also gets cell phone towers and hitting on the same towers. And that to me is just like, when you truly think about that, like, wow, especially when everybody knows that these two campuses drive back and forth to each other. They even write it in the damn PCA when they say it's so customary that kids from that campus come to this campus and kids from this campus go to that campus. So they just, drive back and forth, and they're going to go, the street that they would take is, we can go a couple different ways, but so when you see all that and it's normal, you're then trying to make this abnormal, that he would then be on some cell towers, which is just, again, I think this is just hypocrisy at its finest. It's cell phone tower. It's cell data. It's cell data that they actually didn't even have to do with the PCA, but they're able to use this data, which they've waited and waited and waited for. When people want to say, why didn't Brian Kohlberger give an alibi? You can't give an alibi. You're not just going to go, it's called an alibi defense. We're talking about an alibi defense. In order to use the alibi defense as one of your defenses for the case, okay? This isn't just like why does he have to give this is an alibi defense. There's difference. That's what this is about. He has to give this because it's the alibi defense. He's not just coming forward and now say that he has an alibi. And that's where the Gonzalez's, I think, are totally not understanding what the alibi defense is. And the only way that you can use the alibi defense is that you're using the saying that somebody else can put me somewhere else, whether it's a person saying I was with this person at X amount of time, or it's now modern technology that is your alibi. But Brian Kohlberger physically had to wait to get this data from the discovery because he did not possess it, because they took his phone when he was arrested. Okay. And so that's why you see all these discovery requests. And they're on 15th supplemental requests. Okay. 15th. That's more than the freaking Karen Reed case. And Karen Reed case is beyond fucked up. So you then have to then take this data, and then once you get it in the discovery, then give it to your expert for you to say, listen, this is where I was that night. I drive around all the time. Can you please use this data to put me over here because they're trying to say that I wasn't over there. I wasn't circling this house. I don't even know these people. And then there's some sheet that has my DNA on it. Like, that's how you would be talking to your expert, and your lawyer would be talking to your expert, and then your expert saying, okay, yeah, and you need to ask for this, this is this. I saw the search warrants, and this is what was returned on it. So they should have this, they should have this, and they should have this. And that's when Ann Taylor filed the most recent thing, and she said, we have gotten this, well, with the alibi defense, but we can give you more, but you guys are withholding additional shit that we need, and that we believe it's exculpatory. So we need this, and either you're hiding it or you didn't preserve it. And either way, then Cy is going to be able to go ahead and give even more based off of, and show where he believes that it was or wasn't preserved, and based on the search warrant return, this is where the data should be, and it's not there. Things like that. That's what's coming. And for anybody else to be talking about this and be so beefy, like, oh my God,
I know.
why do you beef? You're a hypocrite. You're an absolute fucking hypocrite.
And
Because
you know what?
the same shit that arrested him is the same shit that's this guy's saying he wasn't there. And now this is where you should just be saying, as a consumer of the information, is just saying, wow, they're putting him here, and they're not putting him here. But they had, the people that are saying that he wasn't there have way more data that they used than the PCA used. And that should be like, you should be sitting over here thinking, oh boy, the prosecution, wait, what's going on here? This isn't Ann Taylor's fucking just taking, she ain't blowing shit up our asses. This is Ann Taylor laying down an alibi defense and saying, we have a guy, it's 2024, we have a guy that's going to put him somewhere else, not because he was hanging out with the dude watching stars and shit. No, he's an expert, and here's the data, and this is where he was. And it's better data than you all used before, because you didn't have his phone. So it's going to be and for me just to see all these people talk about it, I'm like, you know what? You clearly don't give a fuck about truth.
No.
Because if Brian Colbert is so guilty, guys, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. It's going to come out, right?
Yep.
You think he's going to walk on a technicality? Why? Why does anybody think he's going to walk on a technicality? Well, that's how I feel like some people are acting. And then you must know a lot more than I know.
In the real world, not Kansas, like these people live in, okay, they think they're comes out of the Wizard of Oz show. Let me tell you something. In the real world, this case would have been dismissed by now. That bill.
I think we're going to get to that type of stuff. But you guys, if you're watching the Karen Reed case, like, why isn't Karen Reed's case tossed? It takes a lot to toss a case out, you know?
But it would have already been tossed out.
I'm just saying, like, if there's a case that should be tossed, it's the Karen Reed case, and that still didn't get tossed. So I don't see this case remotely getting tossed, only because these people are going to go down swinging with their narrative, because I think it's that. I think the alternative is really, really not good.
I think
that's unfortunately what I've been seeing more and more.
It's not good for Kohlberger, you mean?
No. I'm saying, like, clearly this needed to be cleared up so fast that either it was done so shitty so that this case will never be solved then, or like the alternative is either that it was done so shitty and that therefore this case got so messed up sloppily because of the ISP, or they can't let what really happened come out because it would destroy the university. And those are the two alternatives.
I've been this IgG. I keep going back to that because it's dirty DNA. Do you know? I know how his DNA got on that cheese. You want to hear this?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna have Twiz and Lily come up, and then hit the link again. And I want you to come back on. You can close it out with that. Is that fair? Or just stay in the background there in the back section of the show, and then I'll have you back on.
Okay.
Okay, cool, Janet. Yeah, because I don't want you. Yeah, stay right there, and then I'll just have you back on.
All right.
Okay. What is up, Twiz? You are next up.
Yo.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. What's your take on this whole alibi beef?
Well, I've got a big beef with the alibi.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
My beef is that they keep saying that gate is locked and closed at night.
Okay. And where do you see that he actually went in and was stargazing?
Oh, well, that is not in the alibi, but my point is this. I drove down to the park last night, and
Okay.
that gate was wide open.
So it was
I,
wide open, so it wasn't locked.
correct. See that
Oh,
picture
nice.
that I'm talking on? My picture
Oh, yeah.
of the moon? That
Yeah.
was taken at Wawa Park last night.
It was?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Twiz. All right. See? A man after my own heart. Go get the evidence. Nice. So did you take a drive from
Exactly.
where? You go from Pullman over to did you record the drive? Is that what I
Sure
saw?
did.
Okay,
Sure did.
were you on
Inky.
yeah. He's one of my
Yep,
mods here.
yep.
He's a really good dude.
I mean, he has me on panel, so of course.
I was listening to it. I was listening to you while I was falling asleep the other night. I think it was last
Oh,
night, night
nice.
before.
Night before, I think.
Yeah, so that was you when you were driving at night, right?
That one was during the day. I went driving last night, so.
Oh, did you copy it when you were going, or like video record when you were going late at night?
Yeah, it's all on recording.
Oh, see, perfect. I mean, who would do it? Now, how was your cell service out there?
Oh, well, it turns out cell service out there is really bad.
Okay.
It's spotty on the way to the Wawa grade road, and then as soon as you
Okay.
take a right and go down the hill, you drop.
Okay.
So interesting.
Yeah, see, so this is what so are you interested in the fact that like for me this is about hypocrisy. Like you have an expert saying he's there and they can use the data, but here the same data that they say is the opposite way. Either way you slice and dice it, how people are over there freaking out over this alibi defense, but it's the same thing that y'all arrested him on. So you sound like a bunch of hypocrites.
Pretty much.
Okay.
You've actually read the PCA, right?
Yeah.
Do you have it?
I have.
Can you pull it up?
Oh, can I pull up the PCA?
Yeah, go to page 13.
I probably just have it right here in my handy dandy notes. So
Well, you don't have to pull it up then, but you can read it, right?
yeah.
Go up to the bottom. It talks about what happens at 4:48 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It says that he connected to cellular resources that cover south of Moscow, near Blaine, north of Genesee.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But just like how it says, he pinged. Well, it doesn't say he pinged it at his house, at their house. He utilized cellular service that covered the 1122 King Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't place him at the house at any point in time in the PCA.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
no,
correct?
there's nothing placing him there. That's correct.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, if you do it from if you click on it, then I can bring it up. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there it's coming up. There you go.
So south of Moscow,
Mm-hmm.
in between Genesee and Blaine, there is a tower that covers this area. Wawa Park is here. You drive
Yep.
up here. This is where I get service. It's right after you come up the hill, and then there's that left-hand turn that we would come from.
Okay.
But there's nothing else that covers out here. So I'm assuming that this is the tower that Mr. Koberger would have connected to. This is an AT&T tower.
Is it an AT&T one?
It sure is. And yeah.
And so now
he could be driving along this route, connecting
they
to said
have
tower, but it covers this area, so it fits per the PCA.
Yep, there. Yep. And then if he goes, then he just goes left, then he would be on that cell tower approximately until where that green is, right? When you go up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that really matters in the PCA, but it just says that he.
Oh, I'm just curious about what size going to be able to do.
Oh yeah, I don't really know, but There's a lot of
Yeah.
interesting things with the PCA. Like in the PCA, this is Nevada Street Stadium Way.
Yeah.
He's supposedly goes this way over to Moscow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
But he's missing for 9 minutes.
well, that's when I'm assuming because he goes north and then
We
stops.
think he made a loop. Or well, actually, what we think now though is that there's obviously two different vehicles. I don't trust
On Stadium Way.
No, over the 9 minutes. I mean, that's 9 minutes. That's one of the, like that's a very popular car. So
No,
like,
you're not wrong, but from what I understand is that his office was over here. So what I think he was doing is he went to his office and dropped off some work that he was grading or something for his students, you know?
okay, so that would be a 9 minute delay.
So he drives up here. They have him at 243, I believe, something like
Uh
that.
huh. They do. Yeah,
Driving up north.
242. Well,
Then
247 is when they say he
that's when he
shuts
loses
off his phone.
connection.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is you could walk into a building and lose connection. These buildings are all
Yeah.
brick.
100%. Actually, I do that every time that I go to this place a little bit south of me. I get like, it's the worst service ever.
Right. So they have him going up north and they have him come down south and heading this way. There's a camera here. There's a camera here.
Yep.
If he is heading to Moscow, why don't they have this camera in the PCA?
Yeah, I that's what I've been saying. Why aren't they using that camera? I also think that there's another camera. Why aren't they using? So it'll be interesting.
There's a camera right here.
Is that the one on
This is
when it's
Bishop
coming up for
in
Bishop?
Maine.
Yeah.
Yep. Why isn't that in the PCA?
I believe that it's not. I believe that I don't believe he's on that at that time. If that makes
Well,
sense.
I'll give you a alternative theory.
Okay. Oh shit.
He took a right.
Yeah. So he wasn't on there at that time.
Well, they have him on camera here taking that right. It's just not in the PCA because it doesn't fit their story.
Okay. And so if then let's go right with it, and then where would he then cross down to go?
All right. So you'd go right. This
Yeah.
is Main Street.
Yep.
This is Grand.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is this one? Davis Way. Goes up Old Y Road.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yep, all the way
He's
down.
just going for a little cruise. Again.
And it's about like a 20-minute drive, right?
Like 20, 25, 30.
Okay.
It depends on where you start. There's a
For like
reason
how
why I think
long is it from that light? Like
I actually can't take that route right now because there's construction on Main
yeah,
Street.
I was listening to you because you said that you're like you think he went right, but I have to go this way because I can't get through.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he pulls up to the gate. At least when I pulled up to the gate, it was wide open. It was about 11 o'clock at night, way past when it's supposed to be closed and locked.
Uh-huh. Do they do dusk there, or do they say a specific time? Because like our parks here say the dusk. Yeah, that's what ours says.
Dusk. But the thing is, when he moved there, right? The Alibi says when he moved there, that was like his favorite spot.
Yeah, from July, their first visit. Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to find out where his apartment.
I went and looked up also.
His apartment is right here, so the fastest route for him would have been to go down this way, down Valley, down Stadium.
But that's if he was coming. I still think there's a chance that he was not coming from his apartment.
No, he wasn't coming from his apartment at all. My point is this: this is the route that he was most familiar with. He's most familiar with going up Davis Way because that's the fastest way from where he lived.
Okay.
Which is where he would normally go since June or July, whenever he moved there, right?
Yeah.
So you can get to Wawa Way going this way, but again, he was more familiar with this way, so he would cut through town.
Okay.
And go that way to the park.
Yeah.
Not
but now if you're
the
saying
left.
that, yeah. Now if he would have went to his office first, he would still go right though, right? I mean.
Yeah, he would have. So his office, from what I remember, is I don't know. If
it's Short Hall.
Which one is it?
I thought it was Short.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's 12 Short Hall. I thought. I'll double check that.
I just remember like when this first came out, people were talking about how he went to his office, which I assumed was right there, but I don't know.
I'm interested to know where he worked
at.
Have
to park up here, even if even if his office is up here, because there's not really roads that people can drive into, you know?
Well, also that late at night, if he was just running in really quick, you know, pulling up. So I didn't actually have a chance to go over there when I was there. Go over by like where his office was.
Yeah.
But can you go back to that cell tower? Like, yeah, go back to that. Can you zoom in at all? I'm just curious. I'm gonna go like, yeah. I just want to see something really quick. And then the third, can you just go down just a tab it, like scroll down? Yeah, right there. Just a little bit more. And that's point. Okay. And so, gotcha.
The road comes out right here from the
Yeah.
park.
I'm curious to see how they're gonna go ahead and try to say that. I think they're so fucked, but that's fine. I think they're.
Well, yeah, but
I think they're hurting right now.
The PCA doesn't say they can place him over here.
No. It was just it's just
to
with
the cellular
it's
service that
consistent.
provides coverage.
Yeah, provides coverage, and it's consistent with
That
going in a
tower provides
pattern.
coverage right there, but there's no other tower that covers out towards Wawawa, you know?
And I always wondered why, if you think about it, why they wouldn't talk about the fact when they were just saying that it was just north, you know, like on page 13. I can just go over there and grab it. But I was always interested why they weren't ever talking about anything before that. Does that make sense?
Which part?
Because they're trying to make it seem like he shut his phone off,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and it's
Well,
just like,
I've got a theory on that too, because they seem to leave out stuff that doesn't fit their narrative, kind of like that traffic cam on Stadium Way and Main Street.
100.
So let's just say he walks into a brick building at 247 and loses service, but he walks out and gains service, but that doesn't fit their narrative, so they just left it out. They're leaving
Yep.
out everything else. Why not?
And they're just, and I think what they also just said is they slid in there that he could have just not had service, so they still left themselves an out to say that they didn't lie.
But I mean, as soon as he walked out, if his phone was on, he would have got service again, and you would have pretty much service up until the point that minus a couple spots where I dropped for a couple seconds, until you go down that steep road to get to the park. On the grade road, you have service. So he should have had service like about 20 minutes longer, probably.
And what I believe that the data, when you're actually using like the phone from his phone versus them just pulling the historical records from the cell towers, I think when you talk about his phone and the data that would have been extracted on the Cellbrite that had to wait to be given over, the stuff that Sai's going to be using to do whatever he's doing is, I think there's GPS stuff on there.
Well, there could
like,
be.
Like when you were using like your app, like if you were using an app when you went out there last night, I don't know if you have Gmail on your phone, but if you would have Gmail on your phone and it's connected and you have something like that, if you don't know that's tracking you, you need to go and shut off locations with that, but it will literally GPS you.
Right.
And so
no, it's actually really funny. So when I started driving, I was trying to drive. Here's the picture of the gate when I pulled up. So you tell me if that's closed and locked.
No, I see it being swung open.
Yeah.
And that was last night.
Yep.
And then that's your moon pick.
Yep. But it was really interesting. So when I started first doing the drive, I had my phone and I was trying to use GPS and record at the same time. You can't do that on iPhones, right? So I had to go back and charge my old iPhone 6S.
Oh God,
so my iPhone 6S is not connected to cellular service in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't have a SIM card, but the GPS was telling me exactly where I was the entire time.
Really?
Down at Wawawa Park, it says I'm in Colton, Washington, which is the address for the park.
And that's where they're putting him with his alibi, right?
Somewhere down there. I mean, it doesn't really say that he was.
Well, it says Colton, doesn't it? Doesn't it give? I think it's.
Yeah, it says Colton,
swear.
Washington.
Yeah,
on my phone, like when you look at the videos, it says Colton, Washington.
And I think that in the And the alibi, the type up, she used that.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's pretty interesting.
Can I get a rain check? Love you, girl. Yep, you can come on next time there. Hey, Lana and Twiz. Beyond, got you guys. Well, I love this. Like, shit, I could talk. This is my type of jam, and
No,
that's
I'll
why.
get down. I just wanted to come
Well,
up
no,
and
no,
say
no.
hi.
I love it. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is the type of stuff that people should be looking at to say, oh, I see how they went ahead and maneuvered this PCA. Like, this is what they do. This is who Idaho is. This is what they did in the Dr. Moore, Dr. Drake case. This is like legit right here. How
Only
they
the
can get
defense
around
can
saying what
lie,
they're
though.
doing.
Only the defense can lie.
I know, because it's just a probable cause. Like, hey, this is just what we think is probable, you know. But it's, I hate to see this hypocrisy. I think people should be more looking at it from like this type of like, wow. If I really believe in the PCA because of the information that was there, then how can you go back and turn around and say, oh, the same information, now I'm going to say go F yourself? Like, it's just about stargazing.
Well, they
Ann
don't even
Taylor,
read
I
the
believe,
PCA.
I know. I believe that Ann Taylor put that language in there for a reason to even show more biased.
Probably.
That's what I would do.
I feel like a lot of people don't even actually read the PCA because you can't say that he pinged near the house. Everyone says he pinged near the house. All it does is say
You know who's
connect to the
pushing that
tower.
narrative? You know who was at least pushing that narrative with me in email form was Mr. Gonsalves was saying that stuff to me.
Yeah.
And telling me that Ann Taylor was, don't get fooled. And I'm just like, I don't appreciate that type of stuff because unless you have some information that none of us have, and that would be against the
gag order.
the gag order. And so it's like, this whole narrative, I don't like where it's coming from, and it's being pumped from one of the families, and that bothers me. Okay, because the truth was going to come out. And if I'm the family, I want the truth to come out, and I'm just going to let the truth come out. And I could be pissed about how long it's taking, because I would be too, but truly be pissed at the right people. And that's Bill Thompson. Get in that
For
motherfucker's
sure.
face,
Well, I don't know if you know my favorite saying with Bill Thompson, but I like to say, suck it, Bill.
I call him backseat Bill. He's about to be in the trunk, though.
I call him the King Tainter now.
Yeah, he can't taint the taint.
Nope.
Oh, well, Twiz, it was definitely awesome chatting with you, and I love Dinky over there. So
I wish I could chat in your chat, but
why can't you? It's not
I don't
coming
know.
up.
Everyone keeps saying that you said I'm not blocked, but no one can see anything I type, so I have no idea.
Oh, well, are you? I'm trying to think if it's because of the language. I don't know. Here, try to type something and see if it comes up.
I typed hi directly under Celtic Spike.
It's not there. What the fuck? You're definitely not blocked. But I can look at that again. I'm telling you, YouTube has its own. He can't see
P-Fox says
his
she
comments.
can see me.
Oh, he can't see his comments. I can't either. But I'm what do you call it? You when you look at
It
stuff
might
from,
just be YouTube messing up.
yeah, nope, not seeing it. I can't see it either.
Weird.
So other people can. I don't think that anybody can. I'm gonna go ahead and I wonder if it's the only thing I have on my channel that I block is certain like words. So I'm wondering if like Twiz, I'll go and check because I have shiz blocked. So I'm wondering if it's like reading shiz for Twiz.
Free Twiz. We need
You know what I'm saying?
in the chat.
So I'll go ahead and I'll free the shiz and then probably you. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like you can do. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Hey, are you coming out for some hearings or whatnot?
Yeah. And you're there, so
I want to get a big group to go to that next hearing because it's gonna be wild. I'm gonna bet size there.
Oh, so you're talking about the one that's for the alibi?
No, well, the next one should be the evidence, right? She's trying to make them give her some evidence.
The May 4th one. I think that's the May 4th one.
I thought it
If
was
there was
14th,
one,
but
if there was one that I was going to go to, it was June 27th, which is the
change of venue.
change of venue.
That'll be
But
fun
there's
too.
that's the change of venue one.
I
But
just
I
want to
am
get a big group to go sit behind Anne.
and be on Zoom.
Well, dude, it'd be so funny because like the last couple of hearings, there hasn't been hardly anyone in the audience.
I
But
know
if we
no
could
one's
just
in
get,
there.
let's fill up the defensive side.
Only if we can wear. Only if we wear shirts that say like sweet
You know
shit,
what? You know
like
what shirt I want to wear now is like
TNT all up in the paint.
just like wear some shirts with moons on it or something. Moons and stars.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know. It's crazy. There's just no way why you'd ever drive down there late at night. I couldn't think of anything to do down there. It's crazy.
I think it's all hypocritical. I think if there's a pattern that this guy drives at nighttime and does all this shit, that's what I've always said. I was like, you're gonna have to take a look at his phone and see where he goes, what he does, and see if this was, something that he did. And then oh god, the people that right now are saying that he left his phone there, and I'm just like, oh god, now if the prosecution goes that route, they're blowing up their own.
Have you heard the best one yet? That
They're blowing up their own story.
Ted Bundy dropped his first victim in that park.
What? I didn't even know that.
That's what some people are saying.
Ugh.
There's no proof it
What's
was in
wrong
the
with
park though. It's in Wawawai Canyon somewhere, but there's no proof it's in the park. But some people are stating it as fact. Ted Bundy dropped a body of his first victim in that park, and that's why Brian went down there that night.
I mean, I'm gonna say prove it.
Hey, all I know is I Googled it where he dropped his first victim, and there's nothing that says it's in the park. That's all I know.
I mean, I that's just wild. But hey, there's wild. I mean, I think social media is out of control right now with this case. But I'm telling you where it's being pumped from. I'm telling you. I think that all the families need to chill a little bit because there's a lot of stuff that's being pumped out to people in the form of emails, and I just don't run with shit. I vet everything.
Yeah, I kind of went at Chris McDonough. I don't know if you want me to drop names on here, but I'm like, if you're going to talk to the family, can you at least read the PCA correctly? Don't
Yeah.
tell the parents that
Chris
pinged
McDonough didn't
next
like
to the
my
house.
last live.
I bet he didn't. But don't tell the parents that he pinged at the house when the PCA says he utilizes coverage that covers the house. Like, that's not what the PCA says. You can't just add words where you want it.
Yeah, he's an inserter. He also didn't find the glove from the November 20th, evidence collection that he wants to spread out to the world. Him and his wife didn't get there until Thanksgiving, which was November 25th. And so he wasn't even there yet. And I just don't know why he doesn't correct anybody on that crap, but he wants some credit that I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about, but he didn't find any glove that matters in this case. And I put that shit out there.
His channel that says something against what he says is just attention seeking, though. You're seeking attention, and he'll give it to you. But I don't think he'll ever debate you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would love to debate that. Let's debate. Yeah, I just want to talk about the facts. Like, what the guy was arrested on is now going to be used to literally squash what you arrested him on. That's how I see it. Right. And I'm interested in seeing it from the standpoint of true crime, in the modern day, what's being used, and how people are taking this on some ridiculous other fucking path is just. I think it shows just. It shows that you got some issues. You got some personal things that you got to work out for yourself. Chris McDonough is a huge hypocrite. You know what else I found out is that he has a problem being on panel by himself.
He cares about the family. That's what he does.
Well, I think fighting for the truth, I don't know of a better way to care for the families and the victims than for fighting for the truth.
Oh, you think having the actual suspect would actually be caring for the
Yeah,
family.
I think the truth. I think it's going to come out one way or another, but you need the truth. If you're always trying to go get the truth, then that's the best way that I think that you could possibly be representing the victims and their families in the best possible way. Not
I
being
agree.
paid by mainstream media to push a narrative one way or another. I'll never be bought and paid for. I promise you that.
Same.
In fact, I'd probably make a shit ton more money if I, was a ass kissing, no cussing.
Yeah, but that's just boring.
That's just boring. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Twiz, and get my email from Dinky over there, and or I think it's on my stuff. It's the Mind Challenge. Shoot me an email, and I'll look at my calendar to see when we're coming back out again.
Heck
But yeah, would love to meet up, and
if you know
we'll go chug some
anybody
beers at
local,
Corner Club. I know some people local
here, and they want to go. I'm gonna go to the next hearing regardless. But it would be way more fun if there was 20 people, 30 people, or something.
Some rowdy motherfuckers, yeah.
Yeah. Sit right behind the defense. The prosecution can just be empty. It'd be fun.
Man, to see Santa and all that beard up and close and personal.
Hey, what you got against beards?
Look out! Not much. Just his.
Yeah,
I just
I
want
don't
him to
think
chim
I'll
in
be able
just
to
a
keep
little
my
bit.
mouth shut when he's talking, but
Oh god, you're gonna get yourself kicked out.
I might.
I can't even see Judge getting mad. He'd just be like, bailiff, escort this man out of here.
All right, I'll let you go. Hopefully
all right, well, thank you so much
with some real beef.
Yeah, no, your beef was welcomed. So thank you. All right,
talk
take
to you
care,
later.
Twiz. All right, can't beat it, guys. Can't beat them. Join them. What is up Beyond the Pale?
Hey.
Hi. Sorry, we just got on a roll there talking about cell phone towers and data and all the good stuff.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I am so happy to be here because I have the same problem as Twiz. I can't chat.
Oh, you can't chat? I don't.
No,
okay,
do you remember I emailed you?
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on.
Well, something really weird's going on because I had an Alibi account and a Beyond the Pale account without boring everyone. And they merged randomly. Okay. And then now I suddenly was like, well, hang on, I was a member of your channel, a member of Dinky's channel. They've been thrown off. And I'm like,
yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right, because I just went ahead and looked because backstage, that's where I was seeing your comments. I don't see any of your comments out here.
No, I tagged La and said, can you see me? And no response. So there's something weird going on with YouTube. I don't think it's your channel because loads of weird stuff is going on. I'm all over the place. I've been kicked off memberships, everything. So yeah. I don't think it's you, something weird. But I can't send you super chats or anything. It's like, nope.
Well,
but anyway,
I gotta figure something out. Because you're not the first person, but then I thought we fixed it. I'm just going to go in and check out my Beyond the Pale. I'm just going to see if there's any type of key trigger words that would trigger your name not to write. Because that's the only thing I could think of. And that was just for me to like prevent people coming in here and writing whack shit. And yeah.
I don't think I've been too whack. Well, then you get all
No. Like I'll block names. I'll block like I don't even know. I don't think you can write my name in chat. Or like you can put stuff on a list that if somebody tries to write it, it won't show up. So, but also if your name is part of it, like, but yours is Beyond the Pale. So I'd have to go and
check. But there's Nelly B as well. That is now, I lost my Nelly B account for ages, and now it's come back, and I've done nothing. It's really weird.
So you could type it as Nelly B.
Yeah. No, I can't do anything. I can't do anything in your chat at all. And I can't comment. And I'm a mouthy piece. And I'm like, oh, I want to say something. And I'm like, I can't say anything. But just to let you know, really, because I know you looked into it. And yeah, I'm like Twiz. I can't say anything. But anyway, I've only got this is really bizarre. I might have to go really quickly because I'm waiting for an ambulance.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So if I have to shoot off, it's my brother's. A long story. He's fine. He's sleeping, but I can't get him up off the floor. So if I have to go, I'm really sorry. But I just wanted. You might have talked about this, Lana, already, and I'm sorry if I haven't caught up. But first of all, I just wanted to say about the exculpatory evidence in the alibi document. I think it might be photos. So you probably mentioned that already, but did you? It's like Anne's language, where she kind of hints and says he takes photos.
People have said this. People have been
Even
saying
in
this.
November, even in November, and then evidence hasn't been given. I think that to me would be the most logical, that he did take photos that night. He had to give his phone up, and those photos with timestamps haven't
with Meta
been put forward.
Or if he would have sent them to somebody.
Yeah. Is that something Cy Ray could retrieve?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. When if they did a Cellbrite and they downloaded his phone and everything like that, depending on the version that they'd used, then you can go back in and do it again on a different like the upgraded version. I just believe that Cy would have given her a list of like, hey, based on if we got the Cellbrite and it's going to list like the opening page has the it's your introduction where it goes, it's like your index. So part 1 is this, then A, B, C, D. So it has everything listed. It says what it has. It has emails. It has, SMS. It has text messages. It has picture, everything like that. And then if something is missing that should be there, and then you have all your apps, and then all of what comes behind those apps. So I believe that he was telling her stuff specifically that was missing from the extraction from Brian's phone. And it's either because they didn't preserve it, or they're hiding it. They're like, where is it? You guys have it because it's. So that's what I think is interesting, is that it seems like stuff is still coming in pieces, because how I've ever gotten a Cellbrite, the data from somebody before, is that I've only ever known to get it, and it's like, first of all, it's mega. There's like 25,000 pages. I mean, it depends on how much stuff you have on there. It depends on what you have, but it's okay. Let me put it to you this way. I tried to print off a recent Cellbrite that was like 5,000 some page, and I tried to break it on up and print off like 100 pages at a time. And my computer kept on, like, because it was through an external hard drive, and my computer kept on screwing up because it was just running so much shit. So I'm probably gonna have to take my external hard drive to like a Staples and to say, like, here, can you print out these 25,000 pages? Because that's what I would need to do to go through and to look at shit. Now, other people, they can have different ways to do it, but to make sure that you don't miss something, because when you're trying to scroll through and you go too far, I don't know, it's just so touchy. It's so touchy. So, but can you imagine printing off 25,000 pages per cell phone that they downloaded? I mean, you would know what section that you kind of need to go into. So you'd maybe say, like, okay, here, give me these 2,000 pages. But my computer was just being so touchy with it. It was, so I can just see that Cy was like, here, you need to ask them for this, this, and this. And then they keep saying it doesn't exist, or they're not turning it over. And here it took them how long to just, I mean, I think there's a lot of problems. With the case against Brian Kober, and they're desperately looking to try to get him in some other way as being labeled like this creep, this stalker guy. And I just don't think that's there. You know how many weird people there are that just, like, I don't know, you could say that they're weird, or they just keep to themselves, or what have you. But when is it going to come when that, like, labels can go away, and it's just like, stop fucking labeling people and just look at the evidence. Look at, people say, oh, they fit this type, or they fit this type, or they fit that type. Okay, but guess what? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes people don't, though.
Talking about stalking, it dawned on me that the whole narrative, in my opinion, has changed to a random attack now. It's untargeted, because if he's not stalking, So what? He just randomly chooses 1122. You know, at the beginning they were like, "Oh, it's targeted. It's either the victim's a victim or the house." I doubt Koberger would have a grudge against the house. And if he's not stalking any victims, then surely it's random. Doesn't that change the narrative to untargeted attack? You know, like the original narrative. You know, oh, it's not targeted. He just kind of went for a drive one night and decided to take out 4 students. And if he wasn't stalking, why leave Dylan and Bethany? If he just had a thing that
I don't believe that they were there.
at
Nobody.
all.
How do you go into a house knowing who's all supposed to be there, and then you decide that you even think that you're going to leave people that they're not going to call 911 right away? That's the other thing that I think is kind of crazy. Is that what are the odds that they don't call? What are the odds that 911 isn't called, and that you would take the chance that Dylan would just be in a shock state? You know what I mean? Because that's what not calling the 911 guys makes it so that this time when this crime could have been committed until you get like an Emmy on it to say like gauging you a time, but it's from basically until the time they got home, 2 a.m. until noon, because of that call not coming out and what time you're shrinking the time of the crime could have happened. So I just that just
do you think they
that
went
still
there
doesn't
at all? Do you think they did a runner?
I don't think the narrative is what the narrative is. I don't trust Idaho State police as far as I can throw them, and I can't throw them that far. And they were 100% they were running a lot of this shit. When I found out that Leslie Lehman was the person that was collecting the camera footage from the anybody in the area that has camera footage, sent it to Leslie. I about fell over in my chair. Leslie Lehman she buried evidence in the Brian Drake case, and I can prove it. I can 100% prove that. I can prove that she didn't do her job. I can prove that she just became a detective in 2018 and she flat out fucking sucks. And I have no problem saying that because I can prove it. I can back up my shit with receipts. Knowing that she was 100% involved in the Idaho4 case and doing the same thing that she was supposed to do in that case with the Brian Drake case, in the Idaho4 case, where you're writing out to tell people to email their clips to this woman's Idaho State police email address, I literally about fell over. And I think it's going to be used against her. And I think that it should be used against her. The stuff that I have no problem turning over to Ann Taylor. I think that Ann Taylor should have it. And I think that Ann Taylor should question on it, because I can prove that she had information in the Brian Drake case where a witness was 100% lying to her and she never went back and re-interviewed him. I have this is an eyewitness. And what did you do instead of going back and interviewing him after you found out that he didn't take the car that he said he did out to go do something, and he in fact was in a different car? You were supposed to go over there and take pictures of his tires of both of the vehicles. Did she do it? Nope. Or if she did, she buried those photos because they aren't in discovery. So the woman that was assigned by the Idaho State Police to collect the digital evidence, camera footage in that area, was this broad Leslie. I puked. But now I can prove that she's a complete fuck up, and this other case is going to 100% it's going to show the jury that if this woman did this shit just 2 years before in an unsolved murder case right now, or rather, even if you want to say a case where the police got shit thrown out due to Miranda violations, not to mention anything else, they tampered with evidence at a crime scene with Brian Drake's cell phone. These are the same people that are on this Idaho4 case. And that's why I covered the Dr. Moore case, because I knew that these people, it was the same agency. And as soon as Ann Taylor wants to get training records of people, and it's like, wow. So I followed that lead, and then I found that case, and then we come back and I was just like, holy shit, Leslie Lehman was the name where it says to send these videos to. I just wanted to barf. And I tried to give that information to Steve Gonsalves. And that's how I try to help. that's how I try to help, is when I find things, it's like, here you go. You might want to have your PIs or your Shannon Grays or who the fuck ever. You might want this information. Let me know if you want it. But you should watch my live about what Leslie Lehman did in a 2020 murder case that didn't get properly prosecuted because of their fuck ups. And she's involved in her daughter's murder, or involved in her daughter's, like, investigating her murder. And so I would want that information.
I would, you don't have to answer, but I imagine he hasn't really responded. Gonzalez.
Oh no, I mean, he doesn't. He didn't think that it has anything to do with his daughter's case.
Okay.
I think he'll realize down the road that it does. But I tried to, explain that to him, and I have the dates of the messages to prove it, and I have his responses to prove his responses. And I'm just saying, I want to help anybody in any type of case, and I know that I would want what the information that, and I said, here, why don't you go ahead and read it or check it out, and if you want something. But I think it's definitely something that you need to look into, because she was the one that was collecting the video surveillance cameras in the area with your daughter's murder. Yeah,
I met someone
inexperienced.
I met someone via the Gonsalves Facebook page, which actually I can't watch anymore. It's irritating me too much. But I got into private chat with a couple who had thought Brian was
I would stay away from any private chatting.
Yeah, no, but they're really cool.
They're not probably real people.
Well,
I have a bias with the private chat.
But one of them came up with a really good analogy, and it was that she felt the Gonsalves family and believing Brian to be guilty was like your mates telling you you look really good in an outfit when you look like shit. It's like that wanting to believe, that kind of, your mates telling you, like mainstream media telling them what they want to hear, but deep down it's BS, and I think they just desperately want to believe that they've got the right guy. But I'm really disappointed they're not looking at the truth. They're just kind of sucking it all up, and it's frustrating. So I don't really go there anymore. But just the last little thing I wanted to bring up was War Eagle. He's in a lot of chats. He brought up something really interesting. He said, do you remember that Brian got locked in a park? His car got locked in a park. Do you remember? And it was last night on Dinky's chat. And so I Googled it, and I can't remember the document. It might have been the Independent. And when they were looking into any police issues he'd had, and the only police issue Coburg had was he had to call them because his car was locked into a park late at night and he couldn't get his car out. And I just thought that was really interesting. It's like he obviously, it goes alongside what's happened here. He obviously does parks late at night, and he just got his car locked in. And nobody could remember it. So I Googled it and I was like, there it is. He did. And that's the only thing they could find on him, that he got his car trapped. So he does these late night park drives and bless him, he got his car stuck in a car park. Say that after a few. Car park. But yeah. Car park. So yeah, bless him. He'd got his car locked in, had to call the police for them to let him out. And it was just a good memory. It was like, oh yeah, I think that was in Pennsylvania, PA, I think. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to talk about I think the whole narrative's changed. It's now, to me, it's this attack then was not targeted. If he was stalking, if he's not stalking, how would he have gone into that house with all those cars? He wouldn't have known how to get in. We've been over it a million times when we thought he might have stalked them. But he doesn't know what rooms, he doesn't know who's in there. And he wouldn't have walked past it. If it was random, he wouldn't have walked past Dylan, like you said, if Dylan was there. I always thought it was possible that Dylan and Bethany fled the scene. But my biggest bugbear with this case is the change of narrative with Bethany and Dylan being out separately in the community, home by one. And then in the PCA, Bethany suddenly sees them at Sigma Chi to 145. That is my biggest gripe. I'm like, how do they expect anyone to believe that they didn't interview those two straight away and get their story straight? How can they change it so drastically by the PCA? And it's Xana and Ethan whose timeline was missing for weeks between 9 and 1:45 a.m. No one came forward, which makes me think Xana and Ethan were the time. I think they're the key to the case, Xana and Ethan. That's just me, because it's their timeline that was a mess.
Well, I think I think what's interesting about that is that Bethany is the timeline representative of Ethan and Xana, and so you're using that for the PCA, but if you had issues with it and that you kept writing in the daily blogs, talk about, hey, we're still trying to go over the time, blah, blah, blah. Well, how many different things like truly were said before, if you talk to Bethany and Bethany said, well, yeah, I was at Sigma Chi. I know that they were there because I was there, they were there. And then we walked on over and came home. Or I walked home and they actually got a ride with somebody because they went and got Taco Bell or something, whatever it may be. Yeah, but if Bethany was giving, and if she's the 9 to 1:30 I got my eye on them and that's where they were from that time. Well, that should have come out right away. So why were you so interested in? Was it more that they were interested in what happened during the 9 to 1:30 time versus, okay, we know that she was with them, but we want more information on, what was going on, because let's say Bethany just said, well, yeah, I was there, they were there, because then we all left together and we came back home, and if that was just it. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, so she has their time, but she doesn't really know, well, they were, no, I wasn't in every room that they were, and I was over here because maybe Bethany's had to come clean and she was hooking up with somebody that was, in Sigma Chi. And that's why, like, she just knows that I was there, they were there, because we went there after the football game and then we left and went back to the house. So I can't tell you everything that they did, but I could tell you that we went there at this time. And then when I left, they were getting ready to leave with me and we just walked together back to the house. That's all going to be, I'm just curious to hear these interviews. I'm curious to see when this discovery eventually breaks and we get it.
Yeah. I just remember at the beginning, it was every MSM channel basically was, where was Xana and Ethan after 9 and 1:45? Because and it was like, nobody is coming forward. Brian Enton said it, the Lot News Nation, nobody is coming forward with the timeline. And yet we had Xana's dad saying they were at home chilling. Why was that ignored as well?
I think some things might come out about that. I want to know if they have the right night with that. If that wasn't more Friday night. So I'm curious to see when that comes out. Well, I'm going to wrap this up here. I appreciate you. I'm going to have Janet back on for a second, and then I'm going to, but I want to say, I'll go back in and see if I can figure it out why you're not able to chat. And same with Twiz. I think it has something to do with Shiz.
Well, thank you for having me up. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Girl. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi. We're gonna close out like I promised you. So what do you got? Okay, so how about this? You got to just see what was it? Twiz was just up here. What do you think about the cell phone? And then the gate? What do you think?
I think that is a piece of a puzzle that shows that he was telling the truth, that he does drive around at night and that he stargazes or does whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why his car was locked in there, because he was out taking pictures. Or maybe he was using the head. Who the hell knows where he was? But his car was there. So obviously, this is a habit of his. He's OCD, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that. And he's he is a person who probably has trouble sleeping. And so he goes out and he just drives around. He also wanted to always be a cop. Maybe he likes to run around and just see if people are burglarizing places or something, and he can be a hero. Who knows? But if this is a habit of his, and it should be in his phone, not only that night is in his phone, but other nights should be in his phone and his travels, that they should be able to make a comparison, shouldn't they?
Oh yeah, and we have to all remember that the PCA did not have Brian's phone data. So that's what I think is the most compelling part to me.
Who gets possession of the phone when the jail takes it? Does the defense lawyer get it, or does the prosecutor get it?
Yeah, it's in evidence, and they're doing whatever they download it, then they have the data, and then it's eventually turned over to the prosecutor after they use it to make their reports and to do like timelines and stuff. But see, Brian was arrested before his phone was ever taken into custody. Brian's phone came into custody when Brian Kober was arrested. So the PCA was already typed up. And so the PCA had nothing to do with Brian's phone. Right. And that's why the big thing is that are we going to go with the expert placing Brian and his phone data somewhere else? Or are we going to go with the PCA that is not using any phone data and instead is just using the cell towers?
So the phone is part of his alibi. The picture in that phone.
Well, we don't know we don't know if there's a picture in the phone. We just know that the data in the phone, like the data that was inside Brian Koberger's phone, that was eventually then able to be used by Cy Ray. That's how he is pinning Brian where he's at. He's actually physically using the data. The Payne and the people that did the PCA, they didn't have Brian Koberger's phone data to use like that was inside and was downloaded. They just had the historical historical records that they got on December 23 before they wrote the PCA on December and had it signed by December 29th, December 9th at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they had like legit 5 days with the data. And then they had obviously the cell tower search warrants that were pulled on the 16th, got back on the 17th of November. But whereas what Cy Ray went off of and what you would want to go off of is everything that he was given. But he wasn't even given all of the data yet. And that's what Ann Taylor is fighting for right now. And it was Cy that told her that they have more or we have a big problem. Not a problem for Brian Koberger, a problem for the prosecutor.
Right.
And so people that are out there that are being hypocrites about this, it's called an alibi defense. It's not Brian Koberger waited this long to scream this alibi from the rooftops. No, that's not what the fuck happened. Brian Koberger has been saying this to his goddamn lawyer since day one, and his lawyer since day one has been trying to get that discovery over so that she could then turn it over to a expert to prove his alibi defense. And that's where I'm just like sitting back and watching mainstream media make complete fucking fools out of themselves, watching YouTubers make complete fucking fools out of themselves. And that's why the title of my live is, what is your beef with the fucking alibi defense when it's the same, it's the same shit plus steroids as to why Brian Koberger was ever arrested in the first place, except this that they're using, that Cy's using, is way more credible data because it's more specific. It's his phone data. This is not fucking historical cell site fucking off of his cell phone number from towers off of AT&T. So I'm going with the expert here, not with the 2-year police officer that just joined the force. Can't even testify to hearsay.
No training in those small departments. When I went on my department, there was only 8 people and I was one of them. The first thing the chief assigned me to do is he handed me all the records of all the police officers in the joint and said, bring them up to snuff, bring them up to code. I just came out of a year of police academy. So I got, and then I had to train the reserve division too. And it went on and on from there, you know. So I was like the golden child, had all the responsibility, had all the meetings to attend, yada, yada, yada. But when shit went down, I was the first one hung out on the cross. You know what I'm saying? Because it got to the point where the guy said, how can she talk to the chief of police the way she does and get away with it? If we did it, we would be suspended in a day on the beach. And she says to the chief, why don't you take care of your little boys over here? Because I'm sick of entertaining them. Who the hell talks to a chief of police like that and gets away with it? And so I got told.
I could talk all day with you, Janet. You make me laugh.
You know, well, you make me laugh. You and I would be in trouble. I have a question.
Yeah. We would be partners, and we would be partners in the force. I'm like, me and Janet got this. We'll be back.
Do you have trouble not laughing in court?
I've been known to throw a couple one-liners towards the judge and have her say, "Okay, Lana, that wasn't necessary."
Okay, but do you have, like, one time I was on the witness stand and this defense lawyer said something real stupid. He called me a liar, and the judge says she hasn't been on a police department long enough to be a liar. And the stenographer was sitting in front of me, and he was gay and like flaming clean, and he rolled his eyes and he flicked his hand, and I started laughing, but in order to suppress it, I pinched my nose and it came out like a piggy squeak. And it happened in front of the jury. And I like 12 people staring at me. Then I had the judge staring at me. Then all hell broke loose in the courtroom. And the courtroom came to a standstill. And I was in front of the judge in chambers. And he said, what the hell was that? And I said, something up my nose. And I tried to squeeze and suppress it. Sorry, Your Honor. He said, get out there and act right. So anyway, I won the case, but it was only, they hated me. I know I won. It was a DUI. It's only because I had a habit of tacking the picture on my reports. And so, you know, when you're red-faced and your hair's all fucked up and you got one eye open and closed, yeah, you're pretty drunk. And so they had no choice but to convict the guy. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have trouble laughing like that? See, I would have trouble with you because I would breathe a certain way, like, oh, you know, or like, and then it would be over.
Well, I do my best to be as professional as possible when I have to go in through those lovely marble doors and the buildings, but I just shake my head, I think, more now. I'll scratch my head, but I'm trying not to be so, I'm trying not to show my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm reading the book, The Art of War, so that I can keep more of a poker face in the courtroom when people say the most ridiculous shit. But
how funny.
Yeah, I've done a couple pro se cases, but I think those are behind me.
I set a judge up in Billings, Montana. I was going through a divorce, and my husband hired a lawyer. He was a drunk, and he smelled so bad when I was on the witness stand, and he was standing in front of me, probably like 10 feet away. The smell of the booze. And just made me nauseous, and I started gagging. And then the judge swings around in his chair and just stares you down, you know, like a shark. And the next thing you know it's a setup, and I got fined $500 for taking down a ceiling fan that caught fire because my husband was stupid enough not to install a switch on the wall. So this fan went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I didn't know how to shut it off. I had to kill all the breakers in the house and then take it out of the ceiling so it didn't cause a fire. And I replaced it with a lamp. And he paid $39.95 at the Walmart, and I got a $500 fine for defacing property, marital property. So this judge was on my ass, and this judge and his attorney were best buddies, poker buddies.
Oh, great.
And so I didn't know what to do. So anyway,
those poker friends.
I was on the internet and I started chatting with somebody. I don't know. They just pop up, to chat. And
like guy, the AOL, like AOL back in the day?
I don't know. This was like in 2006. And so anyway, I'm talking to this guy and he says, you're pretty, I seem like a nice person, yada, yada, yada. We got to talk and he said, how about a date? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I'll meet you for a drink. So I met him for a drink and he was a good looking man, and not so bad. And he was really intelligent. We start shooting the shit. Son of a bitch. You come to find out he was the prosecuting attorney for Billings, Montana for over 30 years. And he's
damn prosecutors.
Been to the Supreme Court 4 times and won. The man is brilliant. So anyway, long story short, I wind up dating him. And I say, Ira Aiken was his name. And I said, Ira, can you help me with this divorce? And he said, I don't really want to get involved in that. He said, we're in a relationship. It's kind of like a conflict. And he says, besides, that judge is a stupid motherfucker. And he said, and I told him that to his face one day. And he says, what the hell did you call me? And he says, I pinched my finger on the desk. Sorry, Judge. And he just went on about his business. But anyway, he says, here's what he says, you need to go pro se. You're smart enough. You're headed to law school. You're a straight student. He said, go pro se and defend yourself because you got a lame lawyer, which I had. And so he was afraid of the judge too, because the judge hated him. And so anyway, I go put in the papers. Ira typed them up. And I went pro se. And the judge agreed, thinking, oh, here, kitty. I'm
here, kitty.
Yeah, I'll let you go pro se. Come on, right? So anyway, he signs off the paperwork. But then I hit him with a second set of paperwork because I said to Ira, isn't it true when you're an attorney that you can accept a case or deny a case, whether you decide whether you want to take it or not? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, good. I'm my lawyer and I don't want my case. So I refused my own case. And so Ira's sitting on the couch and he's not talking to me. And I'm like, Ira, did you hear what I had to say?
Take it.
Finally, he cracks up laughing. He goes, brilliant, fucking brilliant. I would never have thought of that in a million years. He said, personally, I wouldn't do it, but there's not a fucking thing that you can do because you're right. You can deny your own case. You don't want it. So, you gotta.
It's like JLR suing himself.
Right. So I put in the paperwork and the judge signed off on it. The dumb fucker. And guess what? I didn't go to court. And my ex-husband ran up a $15,000 bill. He had to pay his own lawyer. And we didn't even have kids. And the furniture was mine from another court decree. It was my dad's furniture. And he was trying to take it. What the hell kind of bullshit was that? I was railroaded.
Oh, hell yeah.
That judge was stupid. His father paid
that cocksucker
on the bench. He used to make up his own shit. Like he didn't even know the laws. And now he's a lawyer, believe it or not, practicing in Billings. He's no longer on the bench. But I'll bet you if he ever ran into me again, I set him up big time. He issued a warrant for my arrest, a felony warrant now on a divorce for failure to pay a $50 fine.
He put you on a warrant?
Yeah. So I called the courthouse and I said, "Do you have a warrant for me?" They'll tell you. And they go, "Yeah, there's a felony warrant." And I said, "What's it for?" And she said, "You didn't pay a $50 fine." And I go, "Are you crazy? I got the receipt in my hand. I paid it the next day." And she goes, "Wait a minute. He can't issue a warrant for your arrest on a $50 fine, a felony." So she was in charge of the sheriff, the sheriff's office. So she tore the whole thing up.
Oh yeah, hopefully she recorded that shit.
But that's how stupid that judge was. But I'll tell you what, I skedaddled out of town. I was always real smart about knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them,
Okay, skedaddle. I like it.
It's time to go. But yeah, isn't that about a trip?
Yeah.
But
yeah. Wait, what do you think about the DNA, how the DNA got there? That was what we're going to end with.
Oh, it's easy. Brian Kohlberger was a teacher, and the killer, or one or two of the killers or people involved, he taught in his classes, and it was exchange of paperwork that he graded. So he picked up the paperwork, say it was yours, picked it up, he handed it to you, you took it, and you said to your friend, "Hey, what grade did you get?" This motherfucker gave me a 65 and failed me. Your friend takes the paper, looks at it. Guess what? He got 3 DNAs. IgG, right there.
That's your IgG. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, there you go. 3 people.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that anybody who's a true crime enthusiast should be very interested to hear about that the data is going to put Brian Kohlberger somewhere else. The data from inside his phone that was not used to put him by or around the house, circling in a vehicle 4 times to be on all these cameras, but then no cameras elsewhere, and blah blah.
Now, I have a question. Why does everybody hate Ann Taylor? I think she's brilliant. And watch the judge.
I think she's calm.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you notice how gooey and
probably because she never gave him a time of day in bed? Who knows?
Did you ever?
It's usually everybody's problem.
You ever study body language? You watch the judge when he talks to her. He leans forward. He puts his head on his fist, and he's totally just stargazing into her eyes, like he's in La La Land, dreaming about their a rendezvous with her, or what the hell. I think he thinks she's brilliant, and he is putty in her hands, and she knows it.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with this change of venue, because we already know that the guy's coming out and going to say Latah County's biased. So where do we go from there then?
Well, Bill Carrick,
what county?
Has already talked to the judge and said, the only thing I ask, because he's retiring after this. What a way to go out. I mean, this guy I
thought he was going to stay back, actually. I thought he wasn't going to retire. So now Bill Thompson is retiring? Because I think he keeps going. Is he flip-flopping that?
Nope. He's retiring.
For sure.
So there comes a book deal. This man's going to have money if he can convict Brian Kohlberger. And he's hanging on a dear life for this, because he's acting like his entire career has come to this moment. It's led to this moment, this fame. I mean, this guy is a cuckoo bird, and he's going to get shown out. I'm telling you, Ann Taylor is going to eat his lunch.
Oh, well, that's why Bill Thompson had to bring in these other heavy hitters from Boise. I think it's an attorney general was one of their lawyers were brought in. And then who's Bill Nye, the science guy? Mr. Nye. He's one of them too. I'm curious to see how much Bill Thompson's actually going to do after these pretrial hearings. Like when I was in Delphi, Nick McLeland only did one of the hearings, and then they had one of the bigwigs doing the other hearing, which was McNeelan did the contempt hearing, and then the bigwigs did the hearing that truly mattered, which was the destruction of evidence and shit like that. But yeah.
So why does everybody hate Ann Taylor? Like the other people who have podcasts, just like yours, they hate her. Like they just downgrade her. She's just doing her job. What's the problem here?
Yeah, well, I think that I think it's kind of turning maybe a little bit. But Ann Taylor is not only defending Brian Koberger's rights, but her and Mass have said that they believe in their client's innocence. So it wasn't just, hey, we're defending our client's rights, we're doing our job, but we also firmly believe in our client's innocence. So that was something that hadn't been said, publicly. They put that shit on the record. So I've been a fan of Ann Taylor from jump when people said that, well, she went to IU. Don't you think she's going to be? No, she's not one of them. I liked it when I saw the work that she did in, you have to go back a couple years with a female that she represented, a younger lady, she was a younger girl. I'll go ahead and share the link in the community section of my channel. And I want you guys to go check out the articles in that case.
I think she's
But it was out of Kootenai County, and it was for murder.
I think she's brilliant. And I just love the way
she was acquitted.
She
calls out their bullshit. She calls out that they're shitty ass investigators. And so I don't know if I want to say that this is necessarily like, a cover up, or they are just shitty ass investigators. They're inept. I have proof of that. And now the question is are they inept because they're by choice? Because they're just, fucks. But
look at
victims deserve better than that.
Is it just coincidental that everybody who's involved in this case on the police department is quitting or has already quit? And Fry, if he's elected sheriff, will be in charge of Kohlberger because Kohlberger will then be sitting in his jail.
Mm-hmm.
That puts him in danger.
I think also Ann Taylor operates 5 steps ahead. She's already thinking. I think that's how it played out with this motion shit with the survey. So I don't think Ann Taylor does something. She's actually like in a war room. Like, okay, if we do this, then what are they going to do? And then how? She's thinking ahead in the terms of. And once she saw that they were going to play dirty, things started changing on how Ann Taylor was going to. I don't need to get permission to fucking go have a survey. I don't have to run shit by Bill Thompson to do a goddamn thing. And I'm not going to. I'm going to do what's best for my client. And so Ann Taylor made that known at the last hearing that the days of playing nice, we can't even get the goddamn discovery from these people. Now you want to write in a motion saying that you're trying to hold us in contempt of this non-dissemination order that we actually wrote up. Did you guys even know that the prosecution and the defense have been basically writing the orders that the judge is signing, with exception to the IGG, and anything that he's had to write out where he's making everything that they've been stipulated to, these orders, that non-dissemination order was written by the defense. So that's why I thought that was really funny when Ann's like, I think I know our non-dissemination order. I wrote it.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah. So,
putting it back in their face.
Yeah.
And laughing too. With a smile.
But
I just love her. And I hope she
Yeah.
kicks her ass. But here's the
she kicks their ass. I hope she kicks Bill Thompson's ass out in the parking lot.
Well, no, I don't mean that, but
I'm just messing with you, Janet. You're just
Like-
a great. I just love your. I love your aura. The vibe. You're just a vibe. You put me on a vibe. So I appreciate you. I appreciate when you
real
when you come up here. So thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that one. And
I'm so glad that your divorce was a rock star way to exit that fucking shithole marriage. You have me rolling good today. Thank you. My spirit walker 2023. I don't know if you can hear me anymore over there.
Yeah.
Janet, where are you going?
I don't know, for some reason, either my phone breaking up, your mic is breaking up. I didn't get that last part.
Oh, I was saying, thank you so much. I was reading your name, the spirit walker 2023. And you better click the link next time again, because I do enjoy you. And PF Fox's Ann Taylor's the only one in the room who knows what she's doing. So I'm not sure what's going on with Janet's. There we go. All right, Silly Rabbit, are you there?
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's
Good.
KB. I'm kind of blurry. What's up with that?
I don't know. It should kick back in. You were just fine in the backstage area. I don't know. Janet just got weird too. That's what started getting spotty.
It's that StreamYard.
Yeah, it's such shit, to be
Those
honest.
shadow bastards. That's what I am right now.
Oh,
there we go. I can be all. Oh, look. See, I have the. Oh, I know why. Because I have the background
you have the green,
on.
you have like the green screen?
Yeah, well, you can see Latah County Courthouse if I do it right. Hold on. There it is.
Okay, yeah, there it is. What's up? What's good? What do you think? What's your beef with the Alibi?
Oh, the Alibi, just off my gut feeling. Not that I'm intentionally trying to go against you in any way.
No, I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I know you do. And
thank you.
I'm nervous up here. Come on.
No, I love it. Anybody that takes the link, in my opinion, I think it's great. And I respect I respect everybody's opinions. I think that it's like assholes. We all have one, okay?
All right, so I was telling Heather, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
If I don't talk, I'll forget. Okay. And then so I was like, there's just too much mansplaining at the beginning of it. It's like, what? You waited this long. And it's like, when I was younger, I had a Schwinn bicycle. And I had to get on that bicycle because it had a banana seat sideways like a coil. And it's just like, it's a train
so you're
wreck.
hung up with the words in the beginning of the paragraph?
That was my initial impression. That was my initial impression right there.
Okay.
And so I was like, gut feel. I didn't even read past like the second sentence. I was put it away, look at it later. And then Heather's like, well, let me explain it to you. And so I think I was actually watching your show, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get the idea there. And then I was watching another show where the guy was talking about the YYY Park and the Bundy thing. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure that is one of his places. I think it might have been the place where the girl got away.
No, that's false. But
that's not.
It's okay though.
I is that totally false? The YYY Park thing.
Yeah, I have that as. I can't find any connection.
Can't confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Have you read, seen, or heard? But
definitely.
There's two things on that. One that has nothing to do with arguing with you is on the way down. Ian Harsh's parents' house is on the way. It's like a turnoff.
Okay.
So if he was taking that route, there's some credibility to the theory that he would stop there, pick him up. That's why he's taking that longer route. Go back on the way back, drop him off. And that's Ian Harsh supposedly gets off work at 1:30 or whatever it was. And then the second thing was the most obvious thing is yeah, he's not stargazing. It's a cloudy night. The storms are rolling in. But let me just, before I forget, if you go back to your live or one of your lives about a year ago, where you started with you were looking into the whole, was that house a drug house? Were these girls OnlyFans girls? Were they what were they doing? And I feel like you stayed on that narrative and then you kind of veered away from it. What do you feel like it is that you found that took you away from that theory? Because if you look at with the Kopaka thing on top of it, you're going to have the correlation of the timeline of them moving together. And then a theory that was presented the other day, as where I'll finish, is that Koberger was driving around the neighborhood ish while Alpaca is in the house doing his thing, freaks out. Koberger goes in there. It's okay. I'm here to help you. I'm sure you might have heard that one. To Opaca, and then here, just take your clothes off, put them in the bag. Let's get out of here. And then from there, who knows what happened. So did that make sense?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning, how I was approaching this is anything, obviously, before anybody was arrested, there's a lot of ways to look at this case. So I looked at all avenues, and there's still the avenues that are still all open. So I was trying to hit on all those different avenues with the potential of what, could have been going on. I don't necessarily think that I got away from those girls were clearly doing something for work, to be able to afford things, and they're working from home, at the end of the day, if you're going to school and you're just a college kid, awesome, great. You're not going to concerts. You're not going out and partying and drinking at bars and having that type of money without working. How much were they working? What were they doing to make money? And the whole OnlyFans thing, it started catching on, in that generation. And it's like, if people want to pay me, it's like you're a bartender in a way, with also them working at the coffee shops. If guys want to pay me just to come into a bar and bullshit, they're going to do the same thing at coffee shops. They're going to do the same thing with like the internet. When I started realizing that there's people that I know that talk to dudes when they game and they make all this money while these people are gaming and they're like paying them. And here there's no sex exchanging or, and whatnot.
Fortnite.
I don't know what games they're playing, but whatever the hell they're doing. But I looked at it as like it could be it's like an OnlyFans on steroids, and the reason I said that was because of the sorority angle, in terms of talk about being able to run like a machine. All right, when you're able to have this type of clientele, or I should say, like, if one of the girls does it, or two of the girls does it, they're going to be telling their sorority sisters about it. And then, hey, we can do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And we could, hey guys, I'm making a shit ton of money. Like, let's do this. Well, that stuff then leads to like doing wild type of shit. That's how that type of stuff happens. Also, it was about the people that were living in the house before that. And it was also about, when it was the house being the target, or could potentially been the target, versus like the people. And they were still trying to figure out that angle, but they knew that it was a targeted attack, an isolated targeted attack. And they came out right away and they wanted to say that. Now I'm not so convinced of the reasons that they said it. It was just to more or less, hey, we're doing damage control so the university does not get drilled and killed. And why I believe that now more than ever is because of Green's involvement from jump. And he is missing from noon until 4 p.m. that day ever since his book came out. That house was a complete party house. That house was a complete revolving door, in terms of people coming and going. There's nobody that's like, first of all, if that's my house back in college, one of us are answering our door. We're not running off a scared little fucking, we would be handling our shit. Also, we would know like the cops can't do shit. Like, what are you doing? Okay, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm 21. Like, Kaylee was 21. Maddie's 21. The other people weren't. But here, Xana, as an underage, she even opened up the door. You don't have to open up the door for anybody. They all
They'll
open
come
up
back
the
the
door.
next day.
Yeah, we'll just
The
gonna come
next
back. Yeah.
shift.
Yeah, or next shift. Like what the fuck? Wild
That
shit.
was, yeah.
So it for me, I don't think there was anything that was ever off the table. I've always said from jump that this PCA was weak as fuck. Once I found out that the PCA, obviously it didn't involve the victim's cell phones weren't used, and neither was Brian Koberger's cell phone. It was all put by historical data and this alleged vehicle that they have no license plate on. It's alleged circling. And if that is the Linda Lane camera, I'm telling you, no jury is going to look at that and be like, you cannot tell what car is circling or if it's the same car all those times. I tried to get my hands on the 1112 ring camera footage.
Is that the cat piss one?
No, I got that one. Not that one. The house.
I get confused on the cameras, and you're right.
I've been trying to pump out, everything to show that there's something going on in that area. How about before the murders ever even happened? How about mainstream media running with the fact of the cameras that we got from March of the previous year with the panties fucking being stuff taken out of what do you call it? I don't know, that girl that had her panties stuffed somewhere else out of her suitcase. There's mainstream media that said that they were trying to pin it on Brian Koberger back. And I was like, that dude was not even there at that school yet. It's just like, stop with that crap.
Yeah, they were
the
as confused as anybody. That's why they came to people like you, though, and they're getting all. And I've been saying it all along. I've always said that
we saved all the good shit. Like the
so
Venmos. I think the Venmos are going to be important.
The Venmos, I
there
watched
was a huge
every
fight.
Single one of those. Yeah, what was the? So I mean, it's like paper towels, toilet
yeah,
paper.
That's normal.
Why
that's
leave
normal
that
to,
public
split.
though? You know what I mean?
Well, because that's what people kind of show off in a way like that. It's kind of like, why do people have social media? You want to make it seem like your fucking life is the is the jam, and
I see.
It's social media is a stalking. It's total stalk. I mean, you want to know what someone. That's why I laugh when people are like, "So you think that Brian Koberger was stalking like it was 1984, and he's just sitting out in front of houses and has like Michael J. Fox or peeping toms, and you can't have it both ways. He's either a really good guru with iCloud, blah blah blah, and is going to use technology, or you're saying that he's driving around again like it's 1984 stalking people, and then they could not go get the video cameras from any of those areas to pin one of those 16 times that he was allegedly in the area because he was on a cell tower.
You went to.
You would just think that there. Yeah, or go get some body cams that you have some pulling over of people. And I'm really curious to know why they didn't release the body cam of Brian Koberger getting pulled over by Duke. I tried to get my hands on that. We're going to try another route with that. I think we can bypass the whole, I think it's in the public interest now. Because if in fact he did not give his cell phone number, that would be a huge, that's how they say they got his cell phone number to be able to run his.
I still don't understand why he gave his cell phone number. Why?
I don't think, why would you ever give, I've never given my number in a ticket. Have you?
Nope. They've never, the thing is, the two times he got pulled over, the first time, the cop was like, hey, bullshit. Where's your license and registration? Proof of insurance. I haven't been pulled over in 15 years without them like in bold letters with their voice telling me that I got to have that. Twice in a row, they didn't ask for it and just let them go.
Yeah, all the time. And all the time you get asked that. That's why I think that was all staged. I think that they were trying to get the body cam of inside the vehicle. I truly do. They were trying to get video of inside that car to see what it was like. That's what I think. I think that they were trying to use, the cameras to scope it out. I do. I mean, how about this guy? Who gets pulled over? He got pulled over August 21st. Okay. Then he gets pulled over in October 13th or 14th. Then he gets pulled over, December, those two back, within a 10-minute period. But doesn't get like nothing, no He never gets a ticket on any of these stops. Talk about
Never got a ticket.
for a dude. For a dude, I think
He
that
might
that's
be wearing
pretty
Axe for
interesting.
Men. How also did they get the drive-through 24-hour DNA back on the garbage from his dad?
They're gonna have to explain that chain of custody because I think that I don't think that went to Texas. I think that went to Virginia. I think that went to Quantico. That's my personal opinion. That the FBI
Literally would have to drive it themselves.
Yeah.
There.
But I believe they said that it went back to Texas. I think unless the FBI put it on their plane, okay, they're chartering. Again, they're going to have to explain that chain of custody. Remember, they don't want to talk about anything with that chain of custody. If you remember,
FBI doesn't want anything to do with this shit. Nothing.
I wouldn't want anything to. Who would want anything to do with this? This is such shit.
It's because they have that the shit that covers them or whatever you were talking about, the exclusion.
They have the TUI letter, and well, they have to go. You can still get stuff. It's just
that's why they don't go against each other. Basically, it's like, okay, we know that you're fucked up right now.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if something. It seems like maybe they were investigating some agent. Maybe they were investigating the police were being investigated by the feds before that all went down. I'm not against that still. I still think that there could be something there. I mean, I don't know why you would have so many feds over there.
The problem is going to be when whatever discovery that we don't have right now comes out, it's going to be way more questions than answers on that too. And that's why they're holding it for so long to keep her out of the loop. And she won't have time to
I think that's problematic though. Right. I think that people aren't paying attention to that. Is that this case was only supposed to get bolstered once you arrested Brian Koberger. There was just going to be all these hits towards and hammering that the prosecution's right. And honestly, it's been the opposite. It's been truly the opposite. That there hasn't been shit since the arrest of Brian Koberger. Nothing has come back. Nothing in the car. Nothing in these apartments. Nothing in his phone. Now you're going to have now his alibi is an expert witness. It's going to place him somewhere else at the time of the crime. And people are still hung up on the fucking fact that he was driving around or stargazing, whatever the fuck they want to say. They're missing the whole point. And that's fine. Those are the pearl clutchers, and let them keep showing their asses. But if you seriously have a problem with the alibi defense and that modern technology is placing him somewhere else, then you are just a flat out fucking hypocrite. And that's all there is to it. And that goes for mainstream media. That goes for anybody that's not seeing that the PCA is all about this so-called data that they wanted to use. But then Brian Koberger's defense can't go out and get an expert to actually use better, more credible data from Brian Koberger's phone. And here we're talking about a PCA that refuses to use any of the victims' phones to show a time of the crime. And that's problematic for me too. So, and I'm just saying I'm throwing out facts here. I'm throwing out factual stuff from the case. I'm not fuck my opinion or my emotion. Now you tell me that there's all this blood and DNA in Brian Koberger's car. I'm over here. Here on that. I'm not here or I'm not over here. I'm over here saying, holy shit, that car, how are you going to explain there's all this blood in there? That's the type of stuff that should have come back, in my opinion. People want to say he cleaned the shit out of his car. Well, I talked to Scott Roeder and he said it's really hard to clean blood like that. There's going to be signs of a cleanup. Even if you are able to do that, there's going to be signs of them that clean up. So then the only thing you're looking at
people
is
in the mainstream media are still throwing that bleach thing out there. Oh, he used bleach. It's like, I mean, are you literally gonna boldface like?
Well, that may be your theory, but that is definitely not fact. That's definitely not in any. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's gonna change the color of any fabric that it hits. It's gonna be obviously smell, not gonna go away, and then there's trace elements, even if you scrubbed it and washed it out. But my three things with Koberger are, okay, he did not plead innocent.
No problem with that. He has his right to remain silent.
Well, he pleaded no contest, right? Basically.
No. He wanted the judge. I think that was a power move. He wanted the judge to say not guilty. That's what I believe. But he made it so that they had to say it. He stood there because he wasn't even acknowledging the Maybe he believed that the arrest of him was so wild and so unconstitutional. You know, there's many reasons why he did what he did, but we only know the reason. Is he knows the reason. There could be many reasons, but I think running with that, then that's the same thing as that's so hardcore speculation. Who gives a fuck if he said he was guilty or not? You know, not guilty or didn't say anything. How do we know that his lawyer didn't advise him to do that? You know.
Well, I mean, it would be more likely the guy that was defending him in PA than it would be Ann Taylor, because I don't think she gave him the time of day for like a week or two, at least maybe a month.
Who?
Ann Taylor. By the time he got back,
Ann Taylor, that's not true at all. Ann Taylor had people out there day one at the crime
she was
scene.
at the crime scene. Why? Why was she right there? Just because she's the only
because
defendant?
they knew that this was going to be over there, and that's going to be.
Let me ask you a question off the record.
We are definitely on the record here.
You went there. There's like no way. We're gonna video on it.
I am totally on the record
Hold on,
here.
just a sidebar, real quick, Lana. Why? When you went to, and I asked this because I went to OJ's Nicole Brown Simpson's condo about a year after it happened or whatever, and my buddy just got in a new car, so we drove to Beverly Hills or whatever. We're driving around. Oh, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and that's OJ's condo or whatever. And
over there, Bundy.
I remember it was a windy road and it was just condos, and I was like, okay, whatever. But the thing is, and after that, it was me, him, and his girlfriend. Okay. None of us saw each other for 2 weeks after. The second we saw each other again after that, we're all, oh my God, ever since we did that, I have had the worst luck. And like, we'd be like, it was like a jinx, you know? And I just wondered if you had any kind of weird experience.
Oh, bad juju.
After you went there twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
So,
no, I don't know. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bad juju, I mean, people called the police on me, but that's about it.
No, but I mean, like,
fucking hillbillies, but you know.
Well, she's still around.
That's about
it.
Kept
denying it for so long. So no weird feeling like when you were walking up to his apartment door, and you saw
actually over there. What I felt over there, it was so quiet. First of all, it was so freaking quiet, so quiet. And it sits up high, and you got to like kind of like wind around to get to that point. And there's no way there'd be any Ring cameras because the way unless your neighbor right across from you had a Ring camera, then I guess they could see you, walking in and out of your apartment.
Probably between the buildings, like normal apartment buildings.
Yeah, but there's just no other buildings that are going to catch it because all your doors are like they face each other, so they're just like that, and it's just one on each floor. So it's not like when you like would leave your apartment and you're out walking to your car that anybody at other doors could catch anything.
Unless you were vacuuming the stairs on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be doing something crazy. I don't even think in that case it would. You'd have to set up you'd have to set up a camera in your window to be able to face it out to the parking lot. That's the only way that's going to work.
If only we'd had the two dog people from Coffee House apartments.
Yeah,
we'd be good.
Something like that. Yeah, but it's all like young families, like people that are probably in college and maybe had a kid, or people that are like Brian Colbert, like they're like TAs or whatever. But it was really quiet, and there's no cameras. You're going to have to like why they're picking up a camera where they're at in the PCAs. I just don't think there's anything you can get before that to his apartment. Because it's so you wouldn't be able, you'd have to put it between the doors. Well, there's just nothing. Yeah, there's nothing going to be in between that. That's just the best way I can say it. Like the way that it's all situated, it's very unique. It's very it was like just had snowed when you were there, and it was beautiful, but it looked like
the opening of a horror movie. Like it could have been either
Oh,
that or
I
the
don't know.
closing of, you know what I mean? It was just so empty.
I think
That's the way I think.
I think it's really, really by the house. You're on top of each other, but more importantly, it's all narrow, the roads. Like you're not driving past somebody and not being able, like you're going to see you're just on top of everybody.
No, yeah, I was there for the whole thing when you did it. I was busting your balls about the decibel meter the whole time. If you remember.
and then yeah, like screaming at somebody. I could say, "Hey, what's up?"
No.
and you're hearing me. And it's just so to think that somebody's going to sit here and say that they left that slider door open and committed those murders with that door open like that, or even the front door open. I find it so hard to believe that somebody is not hearing the screaming that would have taken place.
Yeah, actually, somebody was saying in the chat today, they're like, the fact that there's 8 hours of you're not. I don't know if it's Celtic Spike. You're not f banging yourself with 4 dead bodies. It's not funny.
Yeah,
but,
and
you know
no,
what I mean?
it's your.
It was just funny the way you put it.
And if there's no sliding of, if there's no blood on any of the handles, you have to think that. I would think that both hands would have blood on the gloves. Okay. That would mean that you're totally taking off all of your clothes, gloves, knife, everything. Okay. But then you're not realizing that you left your sheath there. You're putting everything in a bag, but you have to do this so quickly because you're running out, getting in your car, then peeling out of there. Right. And you're doing this all naked.
Well, that's why I say the accomplice.
I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
On that,
I'm sorry.
No, the way the PCA is, they've pretty much mirrored. Sorry, did I lose you?
Oh yeah, no, I'm here.
Sorry, but real quick is that they've sold themselves to Brian. If this slips through on all of the inconsistencies, all of the bullshit, we're fucked. Because there's nothing.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the families.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel bad for the families because
I feel bad for all of us. We're all married to this damn thing. You know what I mean?
I feel bad because who they have their faith in, who they have like their kids' cases in the lives of people that I would not want. I wouldn't want them to have my kid's case. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I feel like
I wouldn't want the prosecutor being the prosecutor on my case. Yeah. That's just how I would feel, and that's what sucks. And let's say that Brian Colbert is the guy, right? I just believe that you are innocent until proven guilty, and I will always believe in that. You are owed the presumption of innocence, and some people it comes way faster to prove that they're guilty. But right now, what I'm seeing in this case is I'm seeing exactly what they did in the Drake case, the 2020 case. I'm seeing a bunch of fucks. I'm seeing a bunch of fuckers, and
you call them all out basically one by one rabbit, two rabbit, whack-a-mole. It's
and I back it up
scary.
Though.
That's what's really scary. It's almost it. I mean, you do the research, but it's like, wow, okay, Payne literally did this. This lady collected the videos, literally did this, and then that lady who was very hard to follow, by the way, Janet.
I love her.
She's amazing. I had to skedaddle.
I had to skedaddle out of there. Fuck yeah, Janet.
Go to Scranton.
And I'm gonna tell you what, this whole 4chan shit, this whole that he was up in the Poconos, he's across whoever is that account, whoever those two accounts that are talking about the Poconos and they're talking about this whole in and out in 19 minutes. It's so I hope that Ann Taylor can get her hands on who owned those accounts. I think that those
somebody was
are
100% it was the
relevant.
FBI, that it was an FBI account trying to suss out the suspect or whatever, which made a lot of sense to me because that seemed like inside information. A lot of it, as far as the thing on the fan and all that shit, I don't know.
Well, then you would have to think that the person was actually reading that. So it's just so you guys know, like I don't read 4chan. I have no idea. It had to be literally sent to me, and then people wanted me to tell them what I thought about the fucking shit. Okay. And I was like, what is this shit? I think this is trash. Who the hell is talking like this? Okay. But then you literally take out the bad words of what they're saying. And then it's literally what Payne went ahead and put in a PCA about the 19 minutes in a roundabout way. But he put the killer in a car and not on foot. And then I still want to know there's a separate account that talked about the Poconos and said that he's long gone and he's chilling in the Poconos. And it's like, wait a second.
like
that has
almost
to be,
like
but because that's true. That is where he was.
exactly.
He was long gone, and he was in the Poconos, the person that they arrested. Now, come on. Now you're going to sit here
Yeah.
and tell me, do you know what the odds are for somebody to actually say that in a case that's across the country?
Like
and
12
then
days before the
literally,
arrest, right?
yes, not
Something
well,
like that,
not. I don't think it was that many, but
It was close too. So
and I thought it was 12, 22, 22, but I could be wrong. I'll go double check. I know that the 4chan came out 12/12, 2022, but then I thought the
Okay.
Poconos that he was
yeah,
across,
sometime within.
long gone. That's like winning. I'm telling you, that's like winning the lottery. I even think it's worth. I even think it's a way lower of a probability.
Okay, so my second point, and then I appreciate you being on the show today. By the way,
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming on. You've been a great guest.
Everybody's right now looking down at their phone to be like, wait a second, I thought I was on Lana's channel. Go ahead.
It's okay. Nobody watched mine anyway. The sister, her initial instinct. Oh my gosh, my brother probably did this.
That's all hearsay. She's
Right.
never said that. So
You don't think so?
No, because the person that's pushing that narrative is Steve Gonsalves.
I see. Well, I think, like I was saying before, I think Steve has made a lot of progress as far as going towards the truth, but he's still tunnel vision locked in with Bill and his way. So, all right. Well, I hope I showed you a good one. Maybe you let me back in the chat one day.
Aren't you back in the chat? You're back in the chat.
I'm not. No, I'm on banned for life status.
What do you mean? What's your name?
Kane B. Right here.
I'm sure weren't you just typing in silly rabbit?
I was on. I had it was my secret account, my little rabbit.
Oh,
I had
your
a backdoor in.
All right. Well, we'll give you another chance. How about that, Kane B?
Fair enough.
Don't fuck it up.
I was always on your side. Don't worry.
It's not about sides. It's about the truth.
Right. Well, so I don't always agree with you.
Oh no, that's good. That's fine. If you always agree with me,
I have Lampa here too, and
that's so fun.
And Delta is a lamp that looks just like you, and sometimes I have her on the show. I know you don't have time to watch my show, but maybe next time I talk to you.
Wait, you have a blow up doll that you bring on your show?
It's not a blow up doll. It's a lamp. Okay. It's one of these old lamps with the square fluorescent lights, and then she's got her own hoodie.
Yeah, I want to see.
She's got a little pencil that she wears in her glasses. So
she's got to be a sweetheart. Total sweetheart.
She's amazing. Well, Belts can read very well.
Okay.
She is amazing, but she's a little creepy. So if you haven't watched my dog video, she goes like, I get you. Belta. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, and hope you return back to chat. Thank you,
Kane.
Okay,
I will be there.
All right, hon. Talk to you soon. All right, guys, there it is. That's gonna call it a wrap. 2.5 hours. I have a clone, and she's a blow up lamp doll. I don't know. He better take a picture of it and tag me or something. Again, thank you for the members that were typing in chat. Thank you for the subscribers typing in chat. Thank you for the moderators for making it pop in chat and keeping everybody somewhat tamed. I do believe that you have the right to freedom of speech. You just don't need to attack anybody. So be kind. Please rewind. Send your VHSs back. Rewind. Remember Blockbuster? Remember when you wouldn't rewind your Blockbuster tapes and they would charge you $1? I miss Blockbuster, man. You'd spend more time looking to see what movie you wanted to pick out and watch than it actually took for you to watch that movie. All right. Solid. Again, thanks for Janet. She's still backstage. She's probably sleeping. But you guys rock. So do me a favor and use your touch DNA and hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. You're going to have an opinion. Make yourself known. And guys, if you're going to have beef with the Alibi, it's got to be on the facts, man. And I'm telling you right now, if you have a beef with Brian Kober's Alibi, then you have a beef with the fucking PCA. And if you don't see it that way, then you're a hypocrite. So again, see you soon. Love to all the mods. Over and out.